I'm assuming we're live now. Let me just double check. Oh. There we go. Hello. I don't know when it actually went live here, but I'm assuming everybody heard that first part. We're just going to be talking about Jujutsu Kaisen, chapter 256 here. Try to be a little more concise than usual for once. First of all, or I should say the predictions for chapter 256. First of all, do we think Miguel is going to get rocked? Let me just put a poll in here. Q&A. Apparently YouTube did they update this? Interesting. How's everybody doing today? I know I talked about the Gojo eye reveal here as the title. It is kind of just a April Fool's joke, it seems like. There better be some Hikari glazing this stream. From me, never. Maybe I can pull Jaded in if he's around. We'll see. Will Miguel get rocked? That is the question today. That is the first poll. Because I think Miguel is actually screwed next chapter. Or at least within the next 2. How am I doing today? I am doing great. I hope you are doing excellent as well. Will Miguel get rocked? I'm still waiting for Sukuna to eat someone. It's coming. It's totally coming. Like, all this talk of flavors and stuff. Especially with the, I mentioned in my last video, the chapter 213 and chapter 214, his giant head thing. I'll see if I can pull it up here, actually. That's a pretty sus bit of a, it's a pretty sus moment in this whole chapter. Or those chapters, I should say. Where are they? If my music's too loud, let me know, guys. I'll turn it down. Here, perfect. Yeah, this giant head. I'll just put it over here. We haven't seen this since, which is kind of strange. That's the most sus bit of, that's the most sus power bit we've seen from Sukuna, because now we know the incarnation he can perform is only done one time. It is permanent. So whatever the giant head is, it's got to be something different, right? Alright, let's see. I don't think his RCT will come back, you say, Carvin? It might not. It might be something else entirely. Oh, if it is not Kaio Breeze. Well-known JJK YouTuber. Let's take a look. People upset here. Miguel is dead in a ditch, I fear. Yeah, that's how I'm feeling. Do we think Sukuna Domain next chapter? I think Sukuna Domain in like the next 3 chapters, it really feels like one of those Aizen stops the music moments where they're going to finally push him. And then at the end of chapters, there's going to be Domain expansion. And we're going to get this massive Malevolent Shrine. Escape from Malevolent Shrine, the mini arc. He can somehow replenish it by eating. That might be true. He might be able to replenish his RCT by eating. Now, for characters like LaRue, I think LaRue is just done. First of all, he's not that important. Second of all, thoughts on Panda being top 5 from Kaio Breeze. I have no comment. No comment. Now, Miguel was a lot stronger than I expected him to be. I never expected him to actually, like, breakdance through some Sukuna slashes. That was insane. I think he'll be able to hold his own for a bit. Maybe not, like, I don't know. Maybe for, like, 1 more chapter, 2 more chapters. If they really want to go all the way. They could have him live. You never know. Miguel is pretty cool. LaRue is a sorcerer in Paris and Aizen. He's not dying, kid. Alright, listen up, Plank. You come in here to this stream after commenting on every video to just insult me like that? I can't believe it. How you doing, man? LaRue is done. Yeah, LaRue should be done. He got black flashed. I mean, he's no Maki, okay? And I know some people may have gotten a little upset at the Pikachu getting hit by a bus in my last chapter review, but really, like, okay, I couldn't help myself. Was hoping for a 1 point for a chapter where Miwa bodies Sukuna or something. Miguel will be fine. How you doing, Jamaica? I don't see Miguel dying. Really, China? Really, you don't? I'm curious why. Do you think he's gonna get bodied? At the very least? If Kaio's still in here, I know that Kaio and I were talking about where we might put Miguel. If he has a domain counter, he might actually be top 5. He might like legitimately be top 5 if he gets a domain. Anyone that can go toe-to-toe with Gojo in any way with reinforcement is insane. For any period of time, at least in my opinion. I suspect Miguel will survive too. I don't know why. I mean, Miguel is just kind of a chill character. He's a really unique character. You don't get too many sorcerers outside of Japan. Like, what percentage of sorcerers are non-Japanese? I said it was like 1%. How many sorcerers are in Japan? I mean, if you just look at the ones we see, it feels like maybe 100 tops. I mean, there's got to be more, but still. Who do you think will be the final new person to fight Sukuna? I have no idea. Like, they might bring in the other people from Geto's group, but I really hope we don't get a ton of new people now. Like, bring in Hikari. I feel like he should be the last one to show up. Have them all fight Sukuna. If the domain comes back, then maybe. Yeah, if the domain comes back, I think Miguel's getting rocked. For sure. I am just waiting for Yuji's power-up. Aren't we all? It does feel like some of it's getting a little repetitive just because Jujutsu Kaisen as a whole, everybody knows that Miguel and Kusakabe aren't going to beat Sukuna. Like, I don't think anybody is so delusional that they think Miguel is going to be the Sukuna ender. Let me take this off the screen for now. Like, there are some things in JJK just, like, they're pretty set in stone. Like, Yuji's got to fight Sukuna. If it ain't Gojo, if it's not Megumi, like, the only characters in JJK I ever felt like had a real chance of being the ones to put down Sukuna, it was Gojo, Megumi, or Yuji. So if it ain't those three, like, who else is it going to be? Like, Yuta? I hope Gege doesn't make him the one that Sukuna eats. If he eats Miguel, dude, that is not okay. It just feels like Gege is stretching the manga a little bit. It does feel like that a little bit. I think part of it's the serialization. I think the other part is just that I think it's the framing of the end of the chapters where you have the characters go like, oh my god, he finally showed up. He can actually do something, but everybody knows they can't. What's my favorite JJK chapter? Probably chapter 214, I think. That was an amazing one. We finally got Yuji versus Sukuna. We finally get Sukuna into the limelight once again. And that's something I feel like we've lost a little bit of. Sukuna for a long time, him being out for so long, he has lost the impact of Sukuna being out. Feels a little lessened to me. Let's take a look here. Who do you think he'll eat? I mean, I really hope it's not Hikari. I think the only one left for him to eat would be someone like Hikari if they showed up, and maybe Maki, but it's not going to be Yuji. I'd be very surprised. But Sukuna is starting to look pretty damaged, so either either he starts getting serious, or Yuji is really going to deal some damage on the soul. Yeah, he is looking pretty damaged, but he's also acting pretty chill about all of this, so we'll see what he does. He just did the second Black Flash. Maybe his RCT is back. I think all the characters who came one after another should have just come together in a joint fight against Sukuna. I agree. instead of chapter by chapter. That's what it feels like. It does feel like we're kind of just a new challenger approaches. It is kind of turning into a Super Smash Bros. Fight where someone just gets KO'd every week. He's going to pull out Fuga. Oh yeah, Fuga's coming. Before Sukuna loses, if he even does lose, the black box opening is coming, for sure. Sukuna will eat one of Yuji's fingers. Oh my god. I hope not. Man's lost enough. Miguel showing up did make me think that if more people from the wider Jujutsu world are gonna pull up, now's the time, maybe with Todo and Nobara. Okay, I'm coping. Yeah, guys, if Nobara comes back, Nobara's probably gonna be a curse tool. That's how I feel. Especially after Nanami came back as a curse tool, and he died to the same person. Sukuna isn't losing unless Gojo comes back or Megumi comes back. I'm definitely with you. I think if Megumi really is their #1 way to bring down Sukuna now. They just have to wake him up for real. The weekly KO is a shonen staple. That it is. Do you think Takaba used a binding vow against Kenjaku and is now useless, or do you think he'll also fight Sukuna? I think Takaba's character arc is kind of finished. I think that's why he doesn't want to show up, and Takaba's kind of a wimp, for being honest. Like, he likes his comedy, but he does feel a little bit like a plot device. Megumi is mid. Megumi is potential man. Leave him alone. I mean, granted, I looked at the potential man memes where people are saying, like, it's all about what he could be. And I've pretty much said everything on the list before. But, you know, if Megumi does reach his full potential, he would be an absolute powerhouse. Because 10 Shadows really is incredible. But as of right now, he is kind of a massive bum. A depressed bum now. If Gojo gained RCT, then Sukuna is definitely going to gain something better than what Gojo did. Yeah, that's how I feel. I definitely agree. Like, RCT seems like the obvious answer. Maybe it's his domain, maybe it's something else, maybe it's something entirely new. Sukuna is a modder in the JJK world. Now, you guys want my real hot take? I feel like this whole binding vow with Sukuna. So, first of all, the part where he doesn't have his hands, and like, oh, he can't make the hand sign to chop Gojo in half. It doesn't even make that much sense to me, because this guy can just incarnate instantly at will and just get 4 arms back to chop him. All he had to do was make a hand sign before. Why would he nerf himself? So my headcanon is, I think that Gege Akatame realized how busted the world slash he made was, and then he added these hand signs after the fact, and then he realized, wait, this makes no sense. I have to go and fix it again. And he added on this binding vow 10 chapters later. Because Sukuna kind of looks like an idiot here for not incarnating. Like, you're going to nerf your best move because what? You want to kill him as Maguna? It's very strange to me. Chida, you've gifted 5 $10, gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. Honestly, legendary supporter. Yeah, it is strange. JJK feels incomplete without Gojo. I don't think it feels incomplete. I just feel like missing that month of Gojo. Like, Gojo coming back was such a huge plot point for so long that we get this month time skip when he finally comes back and then he dies in the first fight he's in. It just feels worse than it has to. If he incarnates, he's basically screaming, you should dodge this. Yeah, but like, what's he gonna do? It doesn't even have to be directed. It was a better version of the World Slash. Gojo has no idea he even has it at that point. He doesn't have to point a finger. He just like makes a hand sign and like apparates it on you. I don't understand why people think Meg Kuna is stronger than Heianera. I mean, we don't even know what Heianera's technique is entirely yet. That's why I'm kind of like reserving power scaling for Sukuna for a while until like the series is over, because until we've seen him die and actually use everything he has, and we know what they're talking about when they say he hasn't gone all out. It's really just speculation for the most part. Gojo was back at 100%. Sukuna needed to catch him off guard. Yeah, I mean, he still would have. Like, Gojo had no idea he had the world slash either way. I'm just pretty sure, like, I think the binding vow is good for the story. I just feel like there are better ways to get, like, to guarantee he had to use this thing. That's all. Like, I think it being nerfed makes Gojo's whole thing so much better, but it does make Sukuna look like an idiot. Sukuna is still holding back, yeah. That's what it feels like. Especially with his constant, like, wide-eyed look he gives every chapter. Like, every time someone does anything, like, remotely mid, Sukuna gets, like, this eyes-wide look, like he's a deer in the headlights, and then nothing happens. That's what it feels like. Gojo had one of the best character arcs. I agree. I'm just not, like, the biggest fan of where it ended. Well, maybe not. Maybe ended is the wrong word. I'm not the biggest fan of, like, the lack of context prior to his final battle. Glaze Mei, bro. I don't like Mei, dude. She's a gambler. I bet she bet on Sukuna, dude. I don't even know. We don't even know where she put the money on. Who she put the money on. Let's take a look. So what do we think about Gojo coming back, people? The copium is off the charts. Now, I am not one to farm this. I know a lot of YouTubers will probably farm it, and I can't blame them. But the Gojo copium is next level now. We are in full swing. The ass pull allegations are once again back, and honestly, ass pulls have gotten so ridiculous that even like translators like Lightning are just commenting on how ridiculous it's gotten. With people claiming ass pull all the time. Jamaica Queens has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, Jamaica. I see you in here all the time. A true fan. Much appreciated. I think it's 50-50. He will not return. I'm against him returning. And like, well, I'm not against him returning for the story if it makes sense, but I don't think he's going to come back. I just, like, the options for Gojo coming back is, like, either Gojo comes back and he wins, and the characters in the story have, like, nothing left to do but fight a Godzilla monster, if that happens. But I just feel like if you're going to have Gojo win, you would have done it before. Power scaling is becoming more and more vague as the chapters go on. A little bit, yeah. Especially with all these stupid holding back statements. Like, they gotta show us. You know, they say, show, don't tell. Show me why Sukuna is holding back. True fan is big vibes. Maybe true fan is the wrong word. I'm like, what should I say? An OG fan. Because I do read my comments, and, you know, after a while, you see the same people over and over again. Sometimes I don't read my comments because I'm a pussy. And people are mean, but besides that, no, I'm kidding. Laguna over Heian era Sukuna confirmed because he can do it without the requirements. I mean, yeah, until he nerfed himself. Like, there was that one, like, 5-minute period where Maguna was over Heian era Sukuna because he had the most busted world slash ever. Sukuna's domain expansion incoming? I definitely think so. I'd be shocked. Gojo comes back, but as a regular person who can make friends. Yeah, he binding vowed away his ego. Gojo should have fought Heian era form for like 4 chapters, honestly. He really should have. Like, could you imagine how hard that would have gone? I talked about this in my reaction stream to the spoilers, that this whole part of the fight where Heian era, like where Sukuna is fighting this 14 like this 15-year-old, or like 16-year-old now, I guess, like this 5'8" character, when he's like 6'3", when there's totally another option for like the 7-foot tall Heian era Sukuna. I know that teenagers fighting adults in anime is a super common trope, but Heian era Sukuna exists. Yap alert. Hi, how are you? I'm doing great. How are you doing, King? Gojo comes back as a Miwa tier would be funny. Yeah, just binding vows away all his power so people can like finally enjoy being around him. You are right, Quirkless. I think that the way Gege dropped the explanation out of nowhere in this chapter, I think he is removing plot complexities and also nerfing the World Slash. I feel like that's kind of what he did. I feel like the World Slash, as he originally made it, you know, he writes week to week, so we have no idea what Gege Akutame had pre-planned and what he's coming up with on the fly. I just feel like the World Slash, as originally intended, was too powerful. Everybody knew it. Everybody kept bringing it up, and then it got progressively nerfed, and now we get this explanation, like, literally months after it happened. It just seems strange to me. Like, why wouldn't you give the explanation on what the World Slash requirements are when he used it the first time? Just curious. I mean, obviously, we'll never know. We'll never know for sure. What's your take on the Sukuna and Yuji being related theory? I like it a lot. I do. But, like, I'm kind of biased. I always like family conflicts in a series I watch. There's no guarantee it's going to happen. Here, let me end this poll here. And put another one. Do we think... There's no guarantee it's going to happen. But if it does happen, I'd be satisfied. I just really like the idea of two twin brothers fighting throughout ages or something like that. I know there might not be a ton of... Like, most of the evidence for it is just parallel panels and things like them looking like each other and some twin theories and references to other stories of twins. But I'd be pretty happy that it actually happened. Is Malevolent Shrine coming? Let's put this poll in. Coming in the next 3 chapters, let's put it that way. Wasn't it already implied earlier? It's definitely implied. I will agree it is implied, China. But I don't know. It's just my headcanon, okay? You know, I'm not Gege Akutame. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'll go read back through and it'll make more sense. But like the random nerfing, or like the whole explanation. Now, I don't remember the exact details of the Enchain, but I'm pretty sure there would be a loophole. Because, hear me out, since Sukuna was making plans before he knew of Maharaga, I think what would happen is he would let them collect all fingers in chain and then survive 5 minutes and then kill them. Yeah, binding vows, in general, I kind of have an issue with binding vows that people don't utilize them enough, and there seems to be no requirement to use them. Because I was trying to think, like, okay, Sukuna is the most talented sorcerer alive, ever, really. So if a binding vow is really complicated, he should be able to do it, and other characters might not be able to do it. But we have people like Hikari just making a binding vow to survive things, like by sacrificing their arm, things that would have killed them, and then they're never brought up again. It's one of the parts of the power system that is very curious why people don't use it more. Like, if you can binding vow your things like overtime, why wouldn't you do that all the time? It just seems like characters are too uncreative. Malevolent Shrine, I'm with an innate domain battle with Megami and Yuji versus Sukuna. I mean, that's probably coming too. I really do hope that Megami comes back to 2v1 Sukuna. Like, a full power Megami would be crazy strong. Probably one of the strongest fighters they have left. Totality Maharaga, that might give Sukuna a run. Especially if he has help. But I was talking to my friend prior to stream that Megumi's such a bum that the AI controlled, the chat GPT controlled Maharaga was more useful than like any use of a Shikigami he did. Like Maharaga, honestly, top 5 fighter in hand-to-hand. That thing can throw. The Miwa Binding Vow. Yeah, she did use a Binding Vow. Miwa, honest to God, one of the only people to use a Binding Vow in the middle of combat we've seen. Binding Vows are kind of dumb. You can do anything with it. Agreed. Like, when you have no rules on what people can and can't do with the Binding Vow, it just brings up a ton of questions. We still have to see Megumi's completed domain expansion. Hold on. Let me pull up the image and just read off. Okay. The many quotes of Megumi Potential Man are, he has the potential to rival Gojo. His completed domain will go crazy. He'll hit that Black Flash too, and just wait until he comes back. And I've said all of these, and it's kind of true that Megumi really is just some bum loser that doesn't really do anything in the series, but he can potentially do a tremendous amount. And him being the deuteragonist, it does lend to him having a higher likelihood of actually reaching the potential, but generally. No, you cannot. You cannot do anything with the Binding Vow. Okay, is that true? Is there actually a rule behind the Binding Vow I'm unaware of? I know that with Binding Vows, like, clearly you can't literally do anything with them, but there's so many moments of characters doing insane things with them that it makes you wonder why people aren't doing it more. Potential Man. Yeah, Megumi really is just Potential Man. Like, I can't lie. I love Megumi, but my guy's gotta get his shit together. It's still unknown what happens when a Binding Vow is broken, and maybe that's why. Now, something interesting I want to touch on here to fall into the line of the stream title of predictions is that Sukuna should be able to break this Binding Vow. They should be able to break this Binding Vow by just using the original hand sign exclusively. And if he wants to nuke somebody, he should be able to. Now, what would the ramifications of that be on Sukuna himself? We don't know, and it might be an interesting point in the story to show us what he has to do. I hope we get to see it. I really do hope we get to see somebody break a Binding Vow, because that's a huge point in the story since, like, the first, 12 chapters? What do you want to see the most out of this series for what's left? I want to see character development for Yuji. I want to see what happened in the past 1 month. I want an explanation on the background of Sukuna and the Heian era, what Tengen and Kenjaku were up to, and why things like the origin of cursed energy, if it's something that's innate to the world, or if it was something that came about due to, I don't know, Jujutsu sorcerer intervention, or something someone else did. And also what Angel was talking about when she said that the way Sukuna came back is against God's will, or her religion's will. I think those are the big questions for me. Yes, my anti-Binding Vow technique. Yeah, the Sukuna memes have gotten pretty good. Now, right now, there are 2 types of JJK fans. There are the people who think the eye panel I have up on screen right now is him coming back to life, and the other group are people who think he got chopped in half in this scene. Now, considering this is supposed to be the volume cover, if I'm not mistaken, for the next volume, I'm pretty sure it's just him getting chopped in half. Because it is the volume he dies in. Would be interesting if Sukuna is forced to break his vow and how that might throw the odds. It would be really cool. Like, if he has to break his own Binding Vow to kill somebody who's about to, you know, end his life. And then he's forced to deal with the ramifications. What's your take on the black box or Sukuna's trump card? I think it'll be some sort of ass pull allowing Sukuna to change his curse technique. I mean, I think it's been hinted at enough that if he is able to change his curse technique, it's not like most people already think that's a possibility, which kind of tells you it's pretty set up at this point. It's starting to look more like a cannibal technique as well, Cannibal Sukuna is well known, and the whole chef technique, Malevolent Kitchen in the poor translation on the anime. It's really seeming like that might be likely. Like Chef CT, Jujutsu Kaisen in general. When you look at the story of JJK, when you look at the payoff to the plot points, to the big plot twist, usually it's pretty simple, right? Like Megumi gets taken over by Sukuna. In retrospect, you're like, duh, okay, he wants his technique. It's that simple. Like, he tells him, oh, you have a great curse technique. So if it is just something like a Chef CT, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all, and I think that's pretty standard. A lot of people have been thinking that, and sometimes that's all it ever is in JJK. How many ass pulls do you think Sukuna has pulled? I don't think he's pulled any ass pulls, to be honest. I think he's pulled plot conveniences. But, like, things that had zero setup in the story, not really. Like, most of them are set up. I think, like, there are things I don't like about the fight, like him having he's made some very weird character decisions. Like, characters will do things to let other characters accomplish their goal, when realistically they shouldn't. I think that's the real issue. Maybe some people consider those things ass pulls, but stuff like the Kamitoke, where he has this curse tool, like, bails him out. That's not an ass pull, but is a plot convenience. Did I miss your prediction? We're in the middle of it. We're generally talking about what's going to happen here. And currently we think Malevolent Shrine's coming back. That's what most people seem to think. Now, do we think that he's going to pull out the Fuga in the next, like, 3 or 5 chapters? Because I'll be honest, guys, if these chapters don't actually have, like, serious reveals going on, it is getting boring. At least for me. A little boring. Like, I'm obviously invested in Jujutsu Kaisen forever, running a channel for it. But I ain't gonna sit here and just, like, be an apologist for the story, because sometimes it can get a little, you know, repetitive. I feel like Yuji is going to pop off once Shrine is unleashed. Yeah, I sure hope so. I hope he punches the middle of it. Hope he just craters the big shrine. Convenience, man. Yeah. You think he lost Fuga? I think that's a crazy take, to be honest. Like, if they don't showcase what his actual black box was after hyping it up for so long and mentioning it again, there's no way. That'd be insane. Sukuna needs to get serious already and take them out. Yeah, this whole, oh, I'm holding back, I'm not a big fan. I just don't like it when characters say, I'm holding back. It makes every single action in the story feel like you are just waiting for something important to happen. Because who wants to sit there and watch a guy just like... It's like watching a fighting game tournament and the guy's just not even trying. Like, where's the fun in that? Gojo without 6 eyes is a dead weight. Is that a Devil May Cry reference? Is he Nero? Would you ever make a critique video? I would, but I generally try to keep negativity down. Just because I feel like there's enough negativity in fictional, like in a fictional media coverage, or just media coverage in general, that I don't want to contribute to it all the time. I know it gets views, but I do generally like to look at, I'll critique it. I do talk about the negatives. I'm not going to sit here and say that Jujutsu Kaisen is perfect, because it's absolutely not. But I think you can still enjoy something with flaws. But maybe. I have made one critique video. I talked about the Yoruzu fight, because a lot of people hated that at the time. Sukuna wasn't the one who said he was holding back. Yeah, but we have the characters say it like 4 different times from like 4 different angles. Like, the implication's pretty clear. I think we'd be seriously dishonest to say that Gege Akatame isn't trying to set up a big reveal for Sukuna. Like, you know, Gege Akatame sat there for hours drawing that Sukuna panel saying he hasn't gone all out yet. For a reason. To be honest, seeing a guy visibly holding back in a fighting game tournament and still win the tournament would be a crazy watch. Okay, it would be crazy because usually in a fighting game tournament, tourney, all the players are at least within like 10% of each other's skill levels, for the most part. So if you have like Sonic Fox holding back. I mean, Sonic Fox was pretty incredible at the Evo competitions he was at, but still. I think that's like the closest I could say to like somebody gapping people. But even then, he struggled and lost matches against some people. Prediction: Megumi's innate domain will be how we see his completed domain expansion, since he hasn't trained enough to do it externally. Yeah, with Megumi's domain expansion, the big question is, how would you ever get him to suddenly go from some gymnasium bum to suddenly able to craft a full barrier, let alone an open barrier? But him making huge leaps in his domain, it's happened before. Happened against the Finger Bearer, so maybe. Like Nanami said before, his death... Hold on, I'm getting this covered by an emoji. Why does YouTube do this to me? Like Nanami said before his death, Gojo will leave the rest to the students. What is Megumi even gonna do when he comes back? Gymnasium bums, nasty work, generational hater. Listen guys, we just speak the truth here. Sometimes. Sometimes we just yap. But yeah, he is a gymnasium bum, okay? This guy needed a whole gym to like create a barrier. Like, is that really the makings of a true hero? I don't think so. And what is Megumi even gonna do when he comes back? To answer your question, we have no idea. The real thing, there's like two options. Either he gets a full domain out of nowhere, and it's really strong, or he gets a Totality Maharaga. Because Totality Maharaga, when he's locked in, would go crazy. The full realization of his domain to revive all the shadows. Now that would be crazy. That's an interesting idea, Tiberius. And how you doing, man? Gymnasium bum. He is a gymnasium bum. He had to use a whole gym. He beat a guy by like knocking him into a pool, okay? He was fighting Pamphlet Man. Like, I liked Reggie, don't get me wrong, but this guy was like dropping cars on him. Like, that is not top level gameplay. That's all I'm saying. Like, did we think that any top level sorcerer, like LaRue, would stop a car with his hand? LaRue bodies Reggie. You heard it here. Megumi ain't getting nothing. Really, the only thing I could see him getting is a Totality Maharaga, because that's entirely independent of anything he does. It just happens on its own from the sounds of it. And also, Sukuna did all the heavy lifting for him. And Megumi's gonna cook with Rapid Escape. Man, the Megumi slander truly is generational in this stream. Is Gojo coming back? Unconfirmed. Definite maybe. There, with the whole ooey like kidnapping people, taking them away to God knows where, the necromancy basement, so they can all dance in like some giant ritual and raise Gojo from the dead. But like really at this point, Gege Akatamic just like draw Gojo's ass cheeks and people will think he's coming back. They'd be like, people look like if you zoom in really close on like the upper part, you'll find out that like there are stitch lines there and he's coming back, guys. Shoko saved him. Like that is how deep we are in the JJK fandom. Will the manga end this year? Maybe. Though with the breaks we take, with the way the story is going, it feels like Sukuna's gonna go like another 30 chapters sometimes, I'll be honest. It usually opens a blood manipulation domain expansion. I hope it's something different. I do, but he does have a curse technique now, so if he gets a domain, it's possible. Could be a blood manipulation one. Could like drown people in blood. Though that seems like a little, I don't know, horrific for Yuji Itadori, who's like the nicest kid. They're obviously sewing Gojo and Yuta together. Get this Cronenberg shit out of here. They're gonna come back as a Gundam. They finally found the lost schematics of Mechamaru, and they're gonna put Gojo back together as Super Gojo. With like the right arm of Yuta, the head of the Devastator, the 6 eyes, and the torso of Higuruma, they will stop Sukuna. We need a Shoko update. Blood manipulation is mid. Blood manipulation, honestly, I'd rather just have the blood manipulation that they have in Avatar: The Last Airbender, where you can just manipulate other people's blood with water bending. That sounds better. Sounds better than like shooting your own blood at people. It's just me though. It's a Gundam. Yeah, it is a Gundam. Like, anybody here play Helldivers 2? You ever fight like the bots on that? First of all, those things, those rocket devastators, actually tilted. But it's just gonna be like that. It's gonna be a giant robot with like one 6-eye in the middle. Yuji has a domain called something like Temple of Benevolence, and it purifies souls or strips CTs. I do hope that Yuji's domain really reflects who he is as a person. It's supposed to be a reflection of your soul. Now, I can't immediately bring up the panel they say this, but if it is a reflection of your soul, Yuji should be something benevolent. Let's end the poll on this one. Shout out Hawken. JJK reminds me of Bleach. It'll be part 2. It's obvious. I pray for a part 2. Jujutsu Kaisen is more popular than ever, even though people are getting a little bored of the manga, but season 2, everybody wants more. They just want it to be good. Those bots drop from one hit to the head. Chill. The rocket devastators? Yeah, tell that to the 50 sickle shots I put in them. Hold on, let's see. New poll, guys. Do we think, I saw this in Alonzi's stream the other day. Let's just get the stereotypical power scaling question out. Kusakabe post time skip versus Jogo and Hanami. People seem to still rank the disaster curses pretty high. Part 2, ain't nobody having kids. They are all oh wait. Why did I put this as a... Alright, assume that yes. For this poll, assume that the yes is he wins. Because I'm too lazy to remake it. Let's see, what is this? Ain't nobody having kids. They are all dying. That's a dark future for Jujutsu Kaisen if that were true. Yuji's domain is the anti-Heian era shrine. Why does it say yes or no? Okay, people are asking questions now. Let me remake it. Gojo cooks him. Hold on. Kusakabe post time skip versus Jogo and Hanami. I think he cooks them. I think every post time skip character is wildly strong. Simple domaining a dismantle slash that Jogo couldn't even dodge from a 15-finger Sukuna. I think just absolutely craters him. Especially when characters like Nanami and Shibuya are surviving Jogo flames for any period of time after taking a hit. I'll have 3 options here. Kusakabe wins, or Jogo and Hanami, or Jogo let's see, like, but they win overall. There we go. Aside from Mahito, the other disaster curses are getting packed up. Yeah, disaster curses kind of just got crazy outscaled. Miguel is actually tooling on them now. Like, if Gojo is losing in the short term to Miguel in reinforcement, and a Shibuya Gojo is absolutely just tooling on them, Miguel's skills all over them. How nerfed is Sukuna for Kusakabe to go for a 1v1? I think it's more so just that he deflected slashes. Anyone deflects a dismantle, like you're in the upper echelon. And even the rest of them note that they're still taking it. He's still made of flesh and has to output cursed energy. Hanamo and Jogo cook him. Hanami and Jogo cook him. Man, people really still put those disaster curses high. It's interesting. Though Jogo is the GOAT. Hanami was eating black flashes from Yuji and playful cloud strikes from Todo. Yeah, I mean, like, in the Goodwill. I think Kusakabe is over both of them right now. Post-time skip. We're talking like Shibuya Kusakabe gets cooked. That's how I feel. Miguel, no matter where in the JJK timeline, would have massacred the Shibuya incident. Very true. What does he do about Hanami's roots? Simple domains and slashes them up. Or are we talking about Miguel? He just blitzes her. I mean, even Sukuna went wide-eyed versus Miguel. He can't use CE to block lava. I mean, he's faster than he... Like, if he catches Jogo in a simple domain, Kusakabe's gonna annihilate him. Like, Jogo's domain, if he opens that up, I don't know how long a simple domain from Kusakabe would hold out. There's no way Kusakabe is winning a, like, domain expansion clash with a simple domain. That would be insane. Yuji was still strong, and he got hit with multiple black flashes from him. Yuji, at the time of Goodwill, was, like, nowhere close to any of the characters currently. Absolutely nowhere close. Post-time skip? Like, post-time skip characters are crazy. They cheated. They're all way stronger now. Gege needs to bring up the backstories. Yeah, they seriously do. But that's my power scaling. My slight power scaling poll for today. You know, you gotta toss it in there. Yuji's domain is a life-changing LSD trip, dude. That's how we get Sukuna to be good. We give him the massive LSD trip. It's like unlimited void, but like you come out a better person. Sukuna specifically said that Shoko by herself doesn't have the output to save Gojo. He doesn't know about Urahime and Gakuganji. That's true. But I just don't see the point in bringing back Gojo. To just have him what? Like, that's the real question. Like, what's Gojo gonna do? Go and beat Sukuna now? Help them fight? Not only does it kind of take away from the finale of his fight, it also just makes me wonder, like, where would he even go after that? Is he gonna die again? Does he just live? It feels very strange. Honestly, I still can't see how Naobito wasn't able to dodge Jogo's attack, because Naobito was drunk, and he had flammable blood. Don't forget. That guy's blood alcohol level was so high, he just instant died from, like, getting a match thrown at him. Bring everyone back to do the alternate jumping. Be a teacher. Yeah, Gojo's going to be back to being a teacher. I mean, that's true. It's probably what he would do, but my main point is that, like, you're killing a character to bring him back, to go back to doing what he was doing before. It's just an odd choice. Especially with the way he died. And Gojo also said, I'm glad I died to someone stronger and not of, like, old age or something, if I remember correctly. It just seems all very odd to bring him back. Naobito, the grass type. Yeah, he is a grass type. That's what happens when, like, you're an alcoholic running into battle against a lava man. This is Aizen smacking the 13 core captains and visors. No diff against everyone. That was way more no diff than this. Aizen actually tooled on them. But let's talk about, here, let's end this poll for now. It seems people are pretty 50-50 on this. The majority think that Kusakabe can kill at least one of these guys. But yeah, like, against both, maybe Jogo could do something crazy. Maybe the domain is actually cracked. We just didn't get to see Jogo's domain very much. He kind of pussied out after fighting Gojo, Who knows how easily it would cook somebody. But here, let's talk about Yuji for a second, shall we? Do we think Yuji is getting another curse technique? Will Yuji have a curse technique beyond blood manipulation? Because I think he will. I'd be very shocked if he didn't. There we go. Could Kusakabe beat Dagon? Yeah, probably. Depends how he catches him. Depends how strong. Like, it's kind of hard. I haven't done the full scaling chains on this, guys. I'll be honest. Like, I haven't sat there and taken a direct, like, magnifying glass to every single move and who they scale to and who they're getting close to. But my first thought would be a post-time skip. Kusakabe bodies him. Soul swap. Yeah, that's true. He still does have the soul swap. Maybe that's a CT. Maybe that's just from Yuki's book. Him developing Sukuna's technique is overdue. Yeah, he should have Cleave and Dismantle. Like, he really should. And at this point, Cleave and Dismantle, first of all, I have something to say about this. Dismantle feels like it is just more effective than his Cleave in every way. If a point-blank Dismantle is enough to bypass durability, what is the point of your melee Cleave that doesn't kill anybody? Like, it was Dismantle that put down Yuta. It was not his Cleave. It's just strange. It's a very strange choice. Cleave is false marketing. That thing never does anything. It has bodied absolutely nobody but, like, what was her name? God. You know, the two teenagers that went up to Sukuna and were like, go kill Kenjaku, the guy you're definitely not working with. And then she got, like, diced up in tomato bits. I'm sorry, I don't remember the names of fodder sometimes, I'll be honest. Soul swap, definitely just from the book. Yeah, I agree, Alonzi. I definitely agree. It makes the most sense. Wait for Yuji to get 10 shadows. Yeah, from what, man? He's gonna eat Sukuna, dude. He's gonna eat a part of Sukuna's hand. He's gonna start eating those Sukuna fingers while they're attached. Nanako and Mimiko, yeah, that's them. Has to nerf Sukuna to make everyone look good. The Cleave is just like a butt cheeks technique. I would never want that. Just give me Dismantle. If Dismantle's bypassing durability at point blank, what's the point of your bum Cleave? Like what? You have to like bear hug somebody? Or just shoot a laser gun at them? Ryu ate Dismantle and is still tougher than Yuta according to Sukuna. Yeah, Ryu is him though. Ryu is that guy. He had to go down into the streets to die for the story. Why can't Yuji eat another finger and transfer Sukuna back to him? Because Sukuna has to make the choice. Like, I'm joking about him biting off fingers like real time. Sukuna would have to make his finger into a cursed object. And then he could. At least I assume he could. Cleave is long range. Cleave is long range, like, only in the domain. Every time we've seen it, every time we have seen it, him use it in the real time. Not real time, it's all real time. Like, outside of domain, is him, like, bear hugging people and, like, putting his palm on them. I think the less dismantles are thrown, the stronger they individually are. It's weird and inconsistent, to be honest. It is a little inconsistent, and that's always going to happen in a story. I'm not like, you know, as much as I enjoy talking about power scaling, things do get inconsistent. Stuff like people throwing fire extinguishers at Gojo. That's just goofy. Hey Quirkless, what do you think Sukuna is about to retrieve? Is it 10 Shadows and Maharaga or RCT or Domain? Now, you know, my dumbass didn't even, like, register 10 Shadows as an option, but if it is 10 Shadows, and he pulls out, like, the bull, he's just had that thing this whole time running, that would go crazy. He just rams Miguel. The Cleave description equals what it does, to cut people down in one hit. I'm not saying that Cleave is like... I mean, Cleave has killed absolutely nobody so far. One-shot kill techniques are rare. True. Like, how many people has Cleave actually killed besides, like, utter fodder? The fire extinguisher, strongest curse tool. Yeah, dude, the FTL. This is why I love it. I love it when people say Jujutsu Kaisen is faster than light, so I can bring up the FTL fire extinguisher. If the heavy hitters went all out against Sukuna, would they win? Are you saying like a base Sukuna, like a freshy fresh Sukuna, 4 arms and ready? They get bodied. They get completely, utterly smushed. Not even close. Even Yuta said if he were at full output, his dismantles alone would be like nuking them. Sukuna killed Ryu with Cleave. But they just chopped him. I don't think he ever said Cleave. I think we just assume it was because it was a melee hit. All he said is, I'm going to get serious, and then he cut him in half. Or, like, you know, chopped his head. Nah, they'd win. The fire extinguisher can still be thrown faster than light, by the way. Okay, first of all, that is so dumb. If you threw a fire extinguisher faster than light, what do you think happens to the fire extinguisher? What do you think happens when the physical object goes FTL? And also... the explosion from a fire extinguisher is definitely not faster than light. Hey Quirk, what arcs do you think JJK Season 3 will cover? Do you think it will have the Gojo versus Sukuna fight? I think it will end with Sukuna coming back. Or like taking over Megami. I think it's just going to be the culling games. It might end with Gojo coming back. It depends on how many episodes they want to make. Like, how long are they going to hold... How long are they going to hold the animators hostage this time? Like, Sukuna was pretty good on that last season. Like, he really had that Fuga against them the entire time. It was Def Cleave. Yeah, it probably was Cleave. Listen, I ain't going to deny. If Ryu died, it was probably Cleave, guys. Because if they're all FTL, why would you ever use like a fire extinguisher smoke screen against a guy that's moving faster than light and just get out of the way? Doesn't make any sense. Let alone characters like Kenjaku saying, oh, like using guns is a pretty good idea. They're going to send it when Gojo comes back and makes a movie for Gojo versus Sukuna. If Gojo versus Sukuna gets a movie, I'm hyped. I'm there for it. Sukuna said in chapter 250 he needs to make direct contact with Ryu to kill him, so he basically used Cleave. Okay, I completely forgot that dialogue. That is my mistake. He definitely used Cleave then, if that's the case. Let me just double check. I mean, listen, I assume he did use Cleave. Like, I ain't gonna say, like, that's a crazy take at all, even without that dialogue. Like, no shit, melee hit, probably Cleave. But the way we're seeing him use Cleave now is he's, like, holding on to people, and it slowly begins to kill them. So maybe he can just nuke you. The animators have so much passion, it's unreal. I could never. Yeah, I definitely could never, because I don't animate jack shit. Where's the, If I don't make direct contact, I won't leave a fatal wound, just as it was with him. Okay, yeah, you guys are totally right. 100%. That was a brain fart from me. Ryu and Megkuna's standoff panel was clean. I don't really know if I'd call it a standoff panel as much as Ryu like shitting his pants before Sukuna. Let me find it. I hope they do kill this guy at some point soon. Or maybe not kill Sukuna, but I hope there's like an actual development beyond, he's doing something else now, guys, look out. As for Miguel, I'll give Miguel like 2 chapters. A Materasu Fuga. Could you imagine? A black flame fire arrow that lasts forever. Or like, you know, lasts for what, a week? Do you think Uro is eventually going to jump in to help, or even other Heian era sorcerers? First of all, you brought up an interesting point I'm going to touch on in a second. But to answer your question, Uro is out. Uro is such a punk. She just left. Like, if they got her back in, they must have done some serious social engineering for her to come back. Yuta and Maki are good at cutting hands. Yeah, they are. Cutting off a Sukuna arm every chapter. You know, we did touch on this, that like Sukuna's got 4 arms, bro has got arms to spare. Like, limbs go flying in JJK all the time. It's the #1 truth. We want something other than the Sukuna cycle. Like, yeah, you know your series is getting a little repetitive when people have a term for what's happening. Beyond just like an actual character-based term. Yuta used too many of her moves for her coming back. Yeah, she's going to come back to Thin Icebreaker. But we know that Thin Icebreaker is useful against Sukuna, at least to some degree. So she could do something. But she's also kind of, you know, a pussy, so... You have to, like, seriously... They have to, like, pay her off. I don't know how you convince her. The glaze cycle. Quirkless, if Sukuna uses Shadow Garden, I'm dropping the series. I mean, leave something for our boy's return. Megami gets nothing, dude. Megami gets to suffer. He gets a Totality Maharaga, maybe. Imagine if Sukuna's the one to bring that out, though. Just pulls out the Totality Maharaga, the King Shikigami. We need to see the 3 big vengeful curse spirits mentioned in JJK0. Yeah, I want to see those. I want to see more curse spirits because JJK has kind of just turned, ever since the disaster curses, it is non-stop reincarnated sorcerers, which is fine. But what's the point? Like, I know what the point is, but like, where's the variation? Show me some curse spirits, please. And speaking of Heian era sorcerers, I'm curious how far, like, are our current characters right now closer or farther away from the limit of Sukuna, or I should say, I'm wording this terribly. Have our characters gotten farther than the previous group that fought Sukuna 1,000 years ago? That's what I mean to say. I hope so. But like, I'm curious to see how a bunch of Heian era god tier guys showed up and tried to fight Sukuna. Like, how far did they get in the original fight? Did I just say Totality Maharaga is nothing? No, I said he gets nothing except maybe a Totality Maharaga. Totality Maharaga is everything. No operator. Legendary content creator. Thank you so much for donating, man. And great content. If you guys have not seen No Operator, which I assume you guys have, check him out. Sukuna regains Fuga from the Black Flash, and the next half of the fight will be full explanation on Open as a whole. Not Fire Arrow, Black Fox specifically. This is my going theory, and what my caffeine intake is telling me. That's actually a pretty good theory. And I know we had that conversation months ago when we did the weekly domain about what the black box might be if he's like crafting techniques. But I hope you're right, because at this point I just want the open. Like, just tell me what the open technique is. That's what I want to see. That's a great take, dude. And thanks again. Gojo fans hate the whole Heian era simply because of Sukuna. Why? I mean, I want to see what's there. Yorozu. I liked Yorozu. Okay, I'll say it. I know some people didn't, but I really liked Yorozu. Yeah, like, but as far as the black box is concerned, since you brought it up, let's shift conversation, guys. I'm curious. I'll make a poll on this. Do we think how many chapters? Like, is black box coming in the next 3 chapters? I think it is. I think it better at this point. Matt, Pat, Kristen, no operator with clairvoyance. Actually, it makes sense. Open necessitates access to the part of the brain unlimited void damage. True. That's actually a great point. I'd rather him pull out open than his shrine again. You know, actually that, now we look back, Kusakabe did say that they should assume he can't use the open box right now. So if that's what he regained something completely unknown to them. That would be a pretty cool idea. Imagine we never see the black box again. Literally impossible. Oh, let me make you a moderator, because you've never been in my chat before. You have the absolute best theory on open. I appreciate that. Much appreciated, no up. I think the heavy hitters are closer to the Heian era sorcerers, but likely closer to Uro and Ryu, not Yorozu. Yeah, Yorozu's kind of next level, but they do say she is on, like, her output is on the level of the top of the Heian era. So there's gotta be others, right? Like, I feel like if Ryu is so tough, if he is so tough that Sukuna is still saying this guy's, like, insanely durable, he's probably pretty close, right? He's gotta be top. Definitely the top of his era, at least as far as we know, because it was not that farmer Kashimo. Hey, thanks for the promotion. No problem, dude. Didn't Gojo state that Yuji's becoming more like a cursed object, so eventually he'll get Sukuna's CT because he was soaked in it for so long? I think that's what Shoko said, if I remember correctly. And yeah, that is a great point. He is soaked in Sukuna's cursed energy. The implications of this, you know, they don't really tell us so far, but I do hope we actually get to see the explanation behind how having the cursed energy of another person in you can relate to your curse technique, to you getting stronger. Because most people assume that, you know, you get the cursed energy of somebody, or like Gojo's own cursed energy hurts him less. My theory for a while was that having the cursed energy of somebody else, alright, having the cursed energy of somebody else could lessen the damage of their technique on you, but now we've seen Yuji kind of just get put on blast by Cleave and Dismantle. Hakari, whose domain... Okay, so Janemba Juice. Man, I might have butchered that. Super chats. Hakari, whose domain is revealed to be good at tug of wars, has yet to be seen clashing with another domain. We're playing my game now. I do hope. Thank you for the super chat, but I really do hope we get to see the tug of war with Hakari's domain. And honestly, I just hope to see Hakari again fighting someone else besides Urame. Anti-gravity literally only has no other use besides the black hole tank, and Kamitoke just barely gets used until Higuruma confiscates it instead of Dismantle. Yeah, there are certainly some conveniences in Jujutsu Kaisen, for sure. Top 10 tankiest JJK characters. Number 1, Sukuna. Number 2, Gojo. Number 3, Ryu at this point, honestly. Like, who else would it be? Who's tankier than those three? I mean, Ryu's is pretty much a statement and him getting hit once, but it's a pretty god-tier statement from Sukuna. Hakari needs to win already. Hakari needs to do literally anything at this point. Like, he's just sitting there having the fight of his life against Ice. Imagine Hakari loses a domain clash against Urame. That is slander. That's not allowed here. Miguel. Oh yeah, Miguel. I'm completely forgetting Miguel. He's up there too. He's in the top 5. Tanky for sure. Mahito is tanky, kinda. Daddy Raga, one of the most durable. Oh yeah. I mean, you guys know. You guys know how much I gas Maharaga. And I still intend to make a full Maharaga video again, because not only is it like my favorite battle creature in this whole series, it's honestly, I put Maharaga over most sorcerers and like how interesting he is. Like the absolute best AI controlled Shikigami ever. First of all, I thought when you get stabbed by the Executioner's sword, you just die immediately. But apparently you can just chop off parts that get stabbed. That was stupid. Like, what a bum technique at that point. But I guess most people don't have RCT, so it's pretty good. But the amount of hoops you have to jump through to get the death penalty, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous for it to not work. Well, I'm sorry, but Ryu went out too bad for me to respect him. I understand. You and many other people called this guy fodder. Well, I shouldn't say you called him fodder, but many people called him fodder after he got, you know, one shot by 15 fingers. Are you adapting because you're a Maharaga, or are you Maharaga because you're adapting? Maharaga really is just built different, guys. And I'm going to throw him up on screen. 1 second. I have many Maharaga images. There's no folder to, there's no such thing as a folder with too many Maharaga images, as far as I'm concerned. Let me pull them up. I'll always pull up Maguna, but really, he's not even representative of how cool Maharaga is. My man. Maharaga's just built different, guys. He really is one of the coolest things in this whole series. He has by far the coolest fight in the anime currently. And he deserves it, because he's the best. Quirk, what are your thoughts on the full Sukuna versus Maharaga fight? Are you talking about the anime? In the anime, it's amazing. And I was watching Invincible, and speaking of Invincible, I'm going to make a video on Invincible because I love that series so much. But Maharaga's fight in the anime makes so many of the other fights I've seen in Shonen look like trash. It's look like trash, and some people don't like the art style that much. Why is he blue? Some people don't like the art style that much of Maharaga, or like the art style of the fight. But the music, that combined with the music, Sukuna having to actually try a little bit. I mean, the anime definitely made it look like he was trying. I mean, he's having fun, but he was shocked at a few points. Invincible mid? You take that back. Maharaga versus Maharaga, who wins? Depends who lands the first hit. That's a one-shot. Or maybe they'll just be fighting forever. An immovable object meets an immovable object. Because they're pretty much the same thing. Invincible's been popping off. Invincible is great. I think I've always been a huge fan of DC Comics. One of my favorite comics from DC Comics is Injustice: Gods Among Us. And even though it is so goofy sometimes, there's a real feeling of, what's the word for it? Of consequences. Yeah, well, that's a pretty simple word. But there are a lot of consequences in Injustice: Gods Among Us, because so many times in these series, and I think this is a reason why I like manga a lot, is that in a comic book, when you have a universe with all these established characters that is constantly redone over and over and over, nothing important ever happens with them, or you always know where it's going to end. I can't even enjoy 99% of comics anymore, but now we have things like Invincible, which is the first really unique world that's been brought to the screen in so long for superheroes. It's been non-stop Marvel and DC for 20 fucking years now. It's great. Yeah, Invincible isn't DC, though. It's Image Comics. Yeah, I'm just saying I like DC Comics. Yeah, Invincible is by Robert Kirkman. Also, I'm a huge fan of Battle Beast, because Giant Lions being top 2 in the verse is pretty good. Facts, Injustice Comics actually subvert the characters. Exactly. That is not a DC comic. It's okay, guys. I know it's not DC Comics. I'm just talking about Injustice: Gods Among Us. The Boys. Big fan of The Boys. I don't even like the comic, which is funny. I think that the Invincible comic is a lot better. It's a lot closer to its own TV show than The Boys TV show is. I think The Boys TV show is just straight up better than the Invincible comic is. Even though last season kind of undid everything. Frank Miller is goated. Frank Miller does make some great stuff, even though he's a little crazy sometimes. Big Lion ain't top 2 in the verse anymore. Oh yeah, I mean that's true if you like count Mark. I'm not gonna, no spoilers, guys. But I do like that Invincible showcases Mark Grayson. Mark Grayson is not only likable, but you also see exactly where he's gonna wind up in the world. Like his progression as a hero is so well done. Like his power-ups feel real. Like he just gets stronger by virtue of using them and the situations he's tossed in. Gojo likely pulled a Hisoka and maybe put a Binding Vow on Limitless to require hand signs. If Gojo actually comes back and Binding Vowed himself, like there's no way Sukuna would just like not notice that he Binding Vowed or expect it. Like if that's an option, I feel like he'd expect as much from Gojo. Jerry. Hey Flame, what's up? How you doing, man? Chat, is this Yap expansion? It always is. I said it was going to be concise, but that's a lie every time. We always go off the rails here at Kuroko Shinobi Enterprises. That's not the working title. I was reading Invincible. Might have to bring it up during this One Piece break. Oh, it's great. Great comic. Would recommend. The show is different from the comics totally. I'm assuming you're talking about The Boys. Yeah, it is 100% different. I think it's better for it. You seen Gen V? I have. I didn't like it as much as The Boys, but it was still pretty good. So let's get back to Jujutsu Kaisen here, because that's why my channel's about. Which adaptation is better, Maharaga's or Aizen's? Well, Aizen's a stronger character in general, so definitely Aizen. And he also has, like, the God Hogyoku. And that thing just goes off. We all inherited Kenjaku's yapping technique. Oh, for sure. I mean, I was born, I already had a yapping technique. Really, there is no off switch. It takes extreme effort. Through like years of effort, I have finally been able to like calm down my inability to stop yapping, but that's really all YouTube is, right? The series will end and people will continue to theorize how Gojo could come back. On Attack on Titan anime only endings are still theorizing, and the anime literally finished. I know, I'm one of those people that actually, I don't mind the Attack on Titan ending outside of like the last page of the manga. And the anime kind of fixed it for me. A little bit. I think it could have been better, but some people really, really just wanted our boy Eren Yeager to stomp the world. Invincible is goated. That it is. Agreed. You saw the news that the actor from Gen V died? Oh, let me take a look. Gen V actor death. Man, that sucks. Chance Perdomo dies at 27? 27, dude. That's like a year older than me. Damn, it's way too young. Gojo fans about to create a Requiem manga like they did with AOT. Dude, like, honestly, sometimes people just have to step back from the fiction and just realize, like, it's never that important, you know? There are so many series, and people talk about, like, media becoming trash all the time. There is always going to be, like, a new Better Call Saul or something like that. There's always going to be a new series that people love. Or like something that's truly critically acclaimed. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that think a personality trait, like them having a disdain for things that are well liked, counts as a personality trait. Happens all the time. AOT ending was so fucking good. #1 manga of all time. Honestly, I agree, Noaf. I am a huge fan of AOT. I'm a bigger fan of Attack on Titan than I am Jujutsu Kaisen, if I'm being honest. I think the only one I might put over that is like Berserk, but Berserk's author died, and now I don't think there's any way that the vision of Kentaro Miura is going to be fully brought to realization by, I forget who's writing it now, I can't remember his name, but by a secondary author. even if it is his close friend. AOT Glazer Operator. AOT Truth Speaker Operator. Wow, L takes ×2. People get mad when they hear that. That's how it is. Jujutsu Kaisen is truly the homestuck of shonen. Between Code Geass and AOT for me, never read Berserk sadly, but I know I'd love that shit. I liked Code Geass. I wasn't a big fan of like the high school setting of Code Geass, but whenever it went back to the Revolution, that shit was heat. Especially if you like Gundams. Berserk is phenomenal, absolutely. And on the note of Attack on Titan, maybe I like the anime more than the manga because Attack on Titan was blessed with the greatest adaptation of any manga you could ever hope for. Like, if you're an author and you get an adaptation like Attack on Titan for your manga, you're blessed. That's how I would feel. AOT is my #1 anime and it's not close. Might be #2 piece of fiction, to be honest. I agree, Alonzi. I totally agree. I know a lot of people have problems with the ending, but I can still, unlike Game of Thrones, I can still go back through Attack on Titan and read it and enjoy it. I can't do that with Game of Thrones anymore. JoJo's over AOT. I can understand that. If you like JoJo's definitely caters to a different type of reader, and if that's your kind of series, it is the best of its kind, for sure. You think JoJo's a better adaptation over its manga? Oh, I disagree. I think AOT was like peak anime. Maybe it got a little worse in some areas when Mappa took over, but like those first 3 seasons, that was just on point. Game of Thrones and AOT got the same treatment. I don't think it's even comparable. I think Game of Thrones got butchered. AOT live action? You serious? No, I've never seen the AOT live action. That shit's a fever dream. So it only took me 82 minutes to completely... I'm sorry, it only took me 60 minutes to go completely off the rails from Jujutsu Kaisen. I consider that progress. I also like the Sopranos ending. Yeah, let's just go all the way, guys. Let's just go all the way into totally non-anime content. But seriously, let's put in an actual poll here. Let's see, first of all. Most people think the black box is coming. Yeah, pretty standard. I agree. But as for Jujutsu Kaisen, do we think... I should say, will Hikari defeat Urame? I think that's a pretty big moment in the series that has to happen. If Urame can be taken out by Hikari, there's no way he's not showing up against Sukuna. There we go. Because what? Hikari is supposed to be like stronger than Yuta. Okay, according to Yuta, and like Maki does rebuke this. But my point in bringing this up, I'm not power scaling here, okay guys? I'm just saying what the characters in the story are like leaning towards, that they're saying like, oh, Yuta's gonna be like, Hikari is equal to Yuta, or like stronger, or whatever. It's supposed to be comparable, and Hikari is the last character we have not seen. If Hikari actually showed up, and they had him fight Sukuna, I wouldn't be surprised if Gege was like, oh, this is why he's like stronger on a roll than Yuta is. I know that might piss some people off. I still love Yuta. I still think Yuta is way stronger than Hikari now, but it's one of those things. Yeah, Hikari versus Yuta debates, dude. People get crazy about it. Yeah, Yuta Nation, calm down. Calm down. We're not going after him. I binged AOT start to finish a few months back. Peak fiction, hell of a ride. Thank you for the super chat, Leo. And I agree. It is some great fiction. It is rare to find a series that is as gripping as AOT. Yuta has low self-esteem. He was just being humble to that bum Hikari. Chill. chill, Yuta fans. We're not go. Like, I still think Yuta's stronger, guys. Just chill. But Hikari fighting Sukuna. If Gege Akatame wanted him to be stronger temporarily and show like, oh, he really is one of the heavy hitters, that would be the time to do it. That's all I'm saying. AO2 ending is worse because they had to finish the source material. I mean, that's kind of a funny take. I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but thanks for the super chat. That is, yeah. They had to finish the source material. That's brutal. I just know Hikari getting bodied by Sukuna. Oh, absolutely, China Doll. Absolutely, he is going to die. There is no way that he shows up against Sukuna and, like, actually beats him. But maybe he'll do some cool stuff before he gets, you know, defeated. People just don't like Eren not winning, and that's fine, but it's not the writing or randomly changing. Or him randomly changing. I agree. Like, I do think... Like, I think the strangest complaint I have seen for Attack on Titan is him, like, simping over Mikasa. Like, people say this all the time. Mikasa was, like, born married to Eren. I have never seen anything like it in anime. I have never seen a character pine after another one in anime quite like Mikasa pines after Eren in that entire series. It is insane to me that people say that, like, oh, Eren's a loser because he wanted to be with this person that was, like, after him all the time. That's just the craziest criticism I've seen. Like, that whole series, like, she is nothing but, like, all over him. I don't know if I really like Mikasa being, like, the catalyst at the end, but still, I just think it's a really strange complaint. I like when she says Eren. She does say Eren a lot in that series. He saw her as a mother figure the whole time? Oh god, I hope not. Hikari will beat Urame, but not until Gege decides he's relevant enough to be part of the main fight. How many times the character needs to say genocide is wrong before the point sticks? Yeah. Yeah, wiping out the earth was not like, I mean, he got what he wanted, but even he knew what he did was, like, just completely inhumane. Like, there's no coming back from that. Like, nobody's gonna welcome you back with open arms. Quirkless, don't you think Sukuna will be happy to fight someone like Hikari, whom he can cut again and again like he tortured Teddy? Yeah, maybe he will be. Maybe he'll be like, finally, an immortal to test everything on. He just accidentally kills him with the first hit. Hey, Quirk, do you think the same thing about Dragon Ball as you do with Berserk in regards to the writing not going to be up to par? I mean, I don't even follow Dragon Ball anymore, guys. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't followed that series in years. I was never a huge fan of Dragon Ball. I know a little bit about it just because, you know, if you're an anime fan, you're naturally going to be introduced and exposed to Dragon Ball. But unless you grow up with it, I think most of the people I've met who really love Dragon Ball Z grew up with it to some degree. And I just wasn't one of those people. I still think it's good. You know, I can understand the love for it. So I don't really have an opinion on where the story is going to go. Who's your favorite JoJo? I get asked this all the time. It is Joseph Joestar. It's not even close. Like, Joseph Joestar pulling out a Tommy gun out of nowhere, like, literally out of his ass. Top 5 JoJo moments. JJK fans, everyone will die, and that's okay. Also JJK fans. Oh, wow, everyone dying in AOT ban. I mean, it's a completely different argument. The characters dying in Jujutsu Kaisen are dying to a villain, like a known villain. The characters who died in AOT, and I assume pretty much everybody at this point knows about AOT, because how could you not if you watch anime? But everyone dying in AOT was like this horrific event, like this world-changing event that was so bad. Like even the character who did it knew how much of a piece of shit he was for doing it. I don't think anybody who's saying that characters in Jujutsu Kaisen dying is good is like comparing it to like actual fucking genocide being okay whatsoever. Yuta in Africa, Heian Era, or Chainsaw Man Part 2 type spin-off. I wish. I know I'm repeating myself here, but I really do wish we had the Jujutsu Kaisen Part 2 because please, it is so popular now. Like maybe Gege Akutami's just getting bored. Maybe he is. Non-JJK conversation is a big vibe. It is the only vibe an hour into these streams every time. You should have been here for when Kaio and I went to like our dark life stories. Shout out Alt Shift X. I love Alt Shift X. He even replied to one of my comments one time when we were talking about the Night King. He is an incredibly chill dude. Speaking of House of the Dragon, maybe I'll cover that on this channel. Yeah, completely swap content, but sometimes I just talk about what I feel like. Isn't Gege going to be doing a horror manga after? I have no idea. I haven't looked into that. Teenage Shonen Good versus Evil, real world simulated political thriller. I mean, listen, you're preaching to the choir here, Noab. I agree entirely. Like, I love Jujutsu Kaisen, but I like Jujutsu Kaisen for completely different reasons than I like Attack on Titan. Like, I can have my cake and eat it too. Season 2, House of the Dragon, on the way. Yeah, I'm excited. Well, now, we on to House of the Dragon. And it never stops, guys. Okay, let's get back to let's get back to predictions here, okay? Where even was I? God, my brain. It's like it moves, constantly shifts. It's that ADHD, keeps getting me. Alright, so what do we think of hand CT, guys? That's the real question. Now, I know a lot of people... some people went on, like, the full defense that, like, Pikachu getting hit by a bus doesn't mean Pikachu dies. Like, a tenth of Pikachu getting hit by a bus. Like, this is where we're at. That 1/10 of, like, a bullet train hitting Pikachu isn't enough to kill you too if, like, Pikachu is your hand CT. Now, I'm not saying the hand CT is so bad that LaRue is, like, total bum for having it, because it's strong because LaRue is tough. I just don't like the idea of my minion summon hurting me. Like, if I'm going to summon a Skeletor, I want my Skeletor to, like, eat shit for me. That's all I'm saying. Like, minions are there to die for me, and I don't want to get hurt as a result. That's my thought process, and maybe it's different because I love me. I love me some giant hands. I mean, some giant hands. I love me some minion builds. I don't know why the fuck I said giant hands. Diet all for one watch. Is Panda holding back since he is the Dragon Warrior? Oh god, Kung Fu Panda really is a goddamn blessing. Oh, okay, so we're gonna put in here, is hand CT actually good? Actually good, or is LaRue just him? His CT is like a bad stand. Now, I've seen it called so many things. The worst telekinesis. It is just like telekinesis is better in every way because you don't get hurt. You don't have to remake anything. Man, Quirkless, you are not coming back from that. Yeah, it's just how it is. Top 10 falls from grace. That time Quirkless said giant hand. Loves giant hands. Mid should be an option. What is the meaning of life? Yeah, we do yes or no questions here. We like to simplify all things, so people have to be forced into one of two options. JJK has a massive tell don't show problem in general, to be honest. Yeah, it does. Especially with this whole holding back shit. If Sukuna says something isn't good, then it isn't. Boy is our narrator. I think he just said it's not interesting. I don't think he said it's bad. And like, it's really not interesting. It's just a giant fuck off hand that you can just beat people up with. But you can't even like left hook them. He's only got the right hook. Since you need a strong sense of self to be strong in Jujutsu Kaisen, would Escanor be above special grade? I mean, Escanor, he fucking is above special grade, but not with cursed energy, just with whatever he's got. So I'm pretty sure he is. I know, Flame, you're the one that knows all about 7 Deadly Sins. Is Escanor above everyone in Jujutsu Kaisen? LaRue literally saved himself with those hands by moving himself out of the way. Yeah, but now imagine if he had telekinesis. Good done anyways. Sukuna doesn't know shit though. Yeah, he doesn't even know he can just incarnate to not nerf himself forever. What a bum. Dragon Warrior Binding Vow for 3 minutes. That is the end of Panda. That's his final fight. Like, you know how Panda is like the little teddy bear? Okay? So now imagine, next chapter, we go into Jujutsu Kaisen Hunter x Hunter Binding Vow moment, where he gives everything, all of his panda potential, to grow large again and become the Dragon Warrior for like 5 chapters. Dio versus Sukuna. Dio time stops and he Aura's him. Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me. Muda. 7 Deadly Sins is way beyond JJK. That's what I thought. I'm starting to feel at home in this stream. I gotta buy a sub so I don't get left behind. Appreciated, but not required. What if Sukuna's black box is stuck within Yuji because of Kenjaku's binding vows? That would be crazy. He just yoinked it from him. I don't think so, though. I think Sukuna's gonna use black box. I'm totally with no operator on this one. That's coming. I didn't even think about that, but now he's told me. I agree 100%. Nobara come back next chapter. What is up? What is up with the Nobara love, guys? Like, what did she ever do in this series besides die and like throw like rusty nails at people? She's so incredibly weak. Honestly. She couldn't even fight Mahito. Like, you're actually fodder. Sukuna's second Black Flash looks like Yuji's first Black Flash against Hanami. Really? I'll have to take a look. I call those the secret text, the first 50 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen, because everybody watched the anime. You know, it's one of those things, like JJK Zero. How many of you actually read Jujutsu Kaisen Zero or watched the movie first? I'm sure some of you have read it now, but most people I've seen, whenever I talk about the beginning of Jujutsu Kaisen or JJK Zero, the thing they bring up are the movie clips or the anime clips, because nobody gives a shit about the first 50 chapters of Jujutsu Kaisen except for like the most die-hard power scalers. Look at the manga panels. I definitely will, but I don't remember which chapter was the first Hanami punch. It's gotta be like, what, 50 something? I'm pretty sure that's Goodwill. You read it first? Really? Okay. You guys read JJK Zero way before the movie? You know, it does have Yuta, so I think that's pretty fair. I didn't. I just watched the movie. And the anime. I ain't gonna sit here and pretend that, like, I was a fan the whole time. No, I watched that anime first. I was a total casual. I watched that anime first. I saw some YouTube videos on how strong Gojo is, and I was like, alright, I guess he, like, rocks people's worlds. That's neat. That's where it ended. For a while. Sakura did more than Naruto and than Nobara and JJK. Unfortunate but true. But she also got to live longer. I'm convinced the only reason Haruta existed was so Nobara wasn't killed by Sukuna. Bro, I watched all of JJK before I read it. Same, though. Yeah, I don't like... There's not, like, a time limit on when you can get into a series. Like, some people do. Like, honestly, I love listening to, like, hyper-elitist on things because not only is it entertaining to watch people up their own ass, it's also just funny. It's also just funny to, like, watch people gatekeep for series and, like, lose their shit as they slowly become too popular. Like, they feel like their niche has been robbed from them. The sacred text is valid. Yeah. Only thing Sakura did was have a kid. I mean, she's pretty strong. She is a strong shinobi. I mean, have you seen the people in the Leaf Village? They are garbage. They're like 95% garbage. You put on that green jacket, you are just a red shirt from Star Trek. Like, look at the guy that got teaching these people. They got Iruka out here. Iruka's getting bodied by, like, Genny and Sasuke, okay? That guy is fodder. Sakura apparently stronger than 8th gate guy, yet pulls up to no fights in Boruto. Is she actually? I have not read Boruto in forever. Is that a statement? And Sakura's 94% of them. She's trash. Man, people really hate Sakura, man. Power scalers ruin JJK. I mean, I think power scaling is just, like, big and shonen in general. Well, Sasuke is still a Genin. True. Boruto TBV versus Gojo. I have no idea what Boruto TBV is. So I'm going to say Boruto because Jujutsu Kaisen is usually lower on the power scale. Nobara's CT pretty legit if she had a chance to develop. You know, having a soul hit is pretty good. Power scaling best enjoyed casually. Like, I have seen some crazy shit on power scaling, like people getting, and I've been there. Okay, I'm not gonna pretend that, like, if you listen, I have an anime channel. I'm deranged. It's just guaranteed. Like I've done deranged. I've had deranged conversations about power scaling on Twitter. You know, just how it is. It's just the unfortunate reality of being stuck in like that niche. But there are points where people definitely take it too far and treat power scaling as like the only thing you can get out of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is just not true. I think there is a severe lack. In some cases, there is a severe lack of people who just want to, like, go into the past and the history of the series. But, you know, that's up to them, after all. Power scaling is best enjoyed with physics. Oh my god, this chat has just turned to Sakura slander. Her kid has glasses. The Sakura. So we're still on this. You mentioned Sakura once, and this is what it turns into. Do you think Miguel can dodge a world-cutting slash with his CT? Maybe. I mean, I think that's kind of a wank, but maybe. The currently nerfed one, probably. I'll say probably. I don't think we've ever seen it be showcased as faster than the normal dismantles, if I remember correctly. Jinwoo, who is that? Let's take a look. The protagonist of Solo Leveling. I've heard a lot about Solo Leveling. It's been a while since I've really taken the time to delve deep into a new series. Maybe we'll check it out. My prediction is that Sukuna is either going to win on Christmas Day or Yuji will somehow become the merger. I mean, him becoming like a vessel for the merger isn't actually that crazy of a take. It also explained why Kenjaku wanted this kid to be alive. If you cross series power scale, you're brain rotted. I mean, okay. I saw a post recently on Twitter of someone talking about like Omni-Man versus Spider-Man. And like the amount of people saying that Spider-Man is going to beat up this guy. I'm sure Spider-Man has some feats because it's Marvel Comics. And like that's just how they do it. Like characters are so wildly inconsistent. But like the general street level Spider-Man, even a non-holding back Spider-Man versus the planet, like, you know, the partial planet buster Omni-Man, it's just insane to me. Like, you really gotta be, like, digging for feats at that point to be like, oh, look, he punched this one guy one time and did something crazy. Like, it was insane. Like, there are tons of characters in Marvel that absolutely body Omni-Man, no question, but Spider-Man, dude, like, Spider-Man in 95% of his portrayals is, like, he's definitely strong. He's stronger than you'd expect, but, like, not planetary. Spider-Man would clap Homelander. I don't even know the power scaling for Homelander. I assume so, because Homelander is kind of just like a giant bully in his own universe with no equal, but in like anywhere else, he's a bum. Omni-Man is sinking the island of Manhattan. Yeah, like, it's fucking Omni-Man. Like, he's no Kryptonian or Saiyan, but he's still a Viltrumite, and Viltrumites absolutely shit on like 95% of people. Unless Spider-Man's Spider Sense turns on Ultra Instinct, he's getting folded by Omni-Man. But nah, man, didn't you see that one panel where Spider-Man punched Grey Hulk into orbit? That's definitely how he's portrayed all the time. Shout out Giguk. Why are we shouting out Giguk? He's a wicked nice guy, though. I do like him, even though he's way deeper into like actual anime than I am. I respect the passion. The unapologetic passion. Him and Tekking 101. Honestly, I love Tekking 101, if I can just say that. I love how unapologetically goofy he is about what he likes. That's how everyone should be, really. Like, you shouldn't be ashamed to talk about what you like. The fact that this guy was like working at Dollar Tree and went on to just talk about the thing he loved, and now he gets to do it all the time. That's amazing. And it's just an amazing thing. Omni-Man caused an avalanche punching Mark. That he did. I believe he was a captain. He was Captain Universe when he did that to Grey Hulk. I could be remembering wrong. That's what I heard. You know, I haven't read all the comics, but I'm sure you can dig up feats from Spider-Man that are insane. Like, some people scale him to like a light speed because he dodged one light ray attack with like Spider Sense or something. But you know, it's when you get to that level of power scaling, you are ignoring the generally portrayed power level of these characters so much. That's like, you just have to wonder what you're even doing at that point. I love Tekking 2. Bro perfected yapping. That he did, dude. This guy just gets in front of a camera, puts on his outfit, and just goes for it. It's amazing. It's an incredible thing. Takes a lot of balls to do that, too. Like, not everyone can get in front of a camera that easily and just, like, sit there and spit their passion. Gojo is going to be most likely back just like Hisoka. Yeah, I saw Kaio posting this to me. Actually, let me see if he responds to my Twitter post. We were talking about the recent event of linguistic terrorism by John Weary, where he said the dismantle is a space-cutting slash, which I'm sure every Sukuna fan is going to now use to say that all dismantles cut space to some degree. But really, we found the solution is you just need to take Lightning and have them train John Weary like Goku fighting Vegeta in the Prison Realm. And like he'll only let them out, or like I should say, he'll put John Weary in the prison realm with a bunch of translation books, and then Lightning can let them out to test him. And if we do that, we should have a good translation by next chapter. Obviously, I don't think the translations are actually that bad, but still, I mean, okay, some of them are pretty bad. Jean Grey. What about Jean Grey? Linguistic terrorism. It is linguistic terrorism. He called Sukuna a creepy kid. That was the worst. Citing John Weary should automatically discredit you. Yeah. He's right like 1 out of 10 times. Like occasionally there's something so easy that like nobody could mess it up. How lucky were we to have Lightning on chapter 236? Incredibly lucky. But imagine if Sukuna could use this mantle to cut time. What's this dude doing at that point? Christian Martinez, super chats. Why Gege hates Gojo so much? That brain pick was harsh. Because Gege really likes to rub it in sometimes. Imagine if Maharaga had a domain. So a Maharaga should be able, in theory, to Black Flash, because Maharaga has its own cursed energy flow, which we saw mentioned a couple times. So if it has its own cursed energy flow, Maharaga should be able to Black Flash. Like maybe if you Black Flash Maharaga a bunch, one day it would Black Flash you. Or just start Black Flashing you on command. Giorno. Yeah, it would just be Giorno at that point if he's cutting time. Kratos or Goku? Goku. Goku's like absolutely nut. Like absolutely nuts. Goku's insane. I don't even like read Dragon Ball Z that much, but like you just look at like the most basic feats people bring up for him. He's a Kryptonian. But he's like a Kryptonian if Kryptonians were like at their like upper level peak all the time as like their standard portrayal. Well, Sukuna is creepy. That he is, but like calling him a creepy kid, saying like, "Oh, I don't know, I was a creepy kid," when like the dialogue from my TCB was, "I was an unwanted child." The implications are so much different for the story. Kratos, you think Kratos beats Goku? I mean, Kratos does have some incredible feats, but like his actual portrayal, I just don't see it. Maharaga is a fighting game AI. Yeah, he just always wins. He lets you win, pretty much, once he's adapted. Maho definitely adapted to Black Flash, because look at the way he wasn't affected by Gojo's Black Flash. I think that's because he adapted to Blue, so Gojo's Blue Fists were no longer working on him to the same extent. Manga Deku. I mean, he's probably too busy crying at, like, how much he loves his friends to, like, do anything worthwhile, right? That's generally what Deku does in My Hero Academia. He ugly cries. And, like, he, like, grips his chest and, like, has a heart attack in the middle of the battle and cries. I'm kidding, but still. What's funny is Goku is pretty average in his growth over the series compared to most, like, Broly, Gohan, number 17, Frieza, and Uub. I don't even know if I pronounced some of those names properly. I'll take your word for it because I don't read Dragon Ball. Maharaga is the Smash requested character. My god, if they put Maharaga in Super Smash Bros., I'm buying it. I don't even care what system it's on. You could make $1,000 Nintendo Switch, and that's the only option. I'm getting it. Saitama over Goku. Saitama has, like, implied, like, we'll have to see where he is at the end of the series. Like, I understand where people are coming from when they say that Saitama, like, doesn't have the feats, but he definitely has the implication. Oh no, you're right. He tried to find the good in Sukuna. Yeah, My Hero Academia Deku would be punching Sukuna and, like, crying his eyes out. Trying to tell him, like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you just come back to us? Sukuna, please. You can stop being evil anytime. Can Megumi be killed to stop the merger, or does Megumi himself need to stop it? I think he would have to, like... I think killing Sukuna would probably stop the merger, guys. I think if you kill the guy who's going to start the merger, it probably stops the merger. I know, crazy take. But Megumi might be able to stop it if he got in control of his own body. But once the merger goes off, I don't think there is any stopping it. Deku is soft. Yeah, well, come back. Yeah, come back to us, Sukuna, please. Come to the good side. Maho cutting space when Sukuna wanted him to means Sukuna probably could have made him do the Black Flash like Yuji Toto did. I call him 2 hours into a stream. I can never English anymore. Saitama loses to God. I expect he will. I know Zona and I talked about this for a little bit, that like he's kind of got to be right. Like, he might be weaker in the moment. Yuji will absorb the merger and die. The end. That'd be pretty rough. I hope he doesn't just die like that. Like, I hope he does something cool first. Like, he uses the power of the merger. But, you know, if he absorbs the merger creature, he's got, like, the entirety of Japan in him. And then, like, him dying, just, like, taking the whole population with him. I don't know if that's, like, a particularly good ending. Tarnished over Sukuna. Yeah, that Moonveil Katana actually is tarnished. Yeah, tarnished. Elden Ring. For some reason, I was thinking about Ashen ones. The Ashen Undead. Gege revealing Sukuna can Black Flash on command next chapter. I've wondered this myself, that like Sukuna can just Black Flash on command. If anyone can in the series, it would be him. Prediction: Sukuna berating Yuji for not having carved away everything. In chapter 253 was foreshadowing to Sukuna wiping the board with his domain, leaving Yuji with nothing left but to sacrifice himself. It's possible. Like, I'm not going to say that, like, Yuji dying with the merger is unwarranted. It'd make a lot of sense. Can Urahime's CT buff a simple domain? I think so. Like, it really should be able to. Assuming your simple domain requires a cursed energy buff, which, why wouldn't it? Domains get output as well, usually. Like, a barrier technique at the end of the day is just a barrier technique, right? It's a utilization of your cursed energy. Battle of Black Flashes. Yeah, I hope so. I hope we get to see, like, blow for blow Black Flashes at some point. Yuji will Black Flash on command versus Sukuna. That's another person I wish could do it. I hope he can, and Yuji can too, so they can both just run them hands. Yeah, a Black Flash barrage against each other would go crazy. Could you imagine the double spread of Yuji Itadori and Ryomen Sukuna Black Flashing each other nonstop? I would pay big money to get that colored. Can Maharaga make curse techniques if he can copy Sukuna's slashes and make them even better? I think it's more like Maharaga just has hacks than like an outright copy of things. I mean, his hacks, the adaptation he uses does utilize his own innate abilities at some point, but it seems like he's just able to do things like that pretty much break the rules of Jujutsu. A blow to blow, blow for blow Black Flashes sounds fated to happen. I hope it is. It would go so hard. Bro, where is Inumaki? He would be mad useful right now. Imagine him saying, "Don't move," and everyone's just jumping Sukuna. I mean, isn't Yuta just way better Inumaki? Like, if he tells... What's gonna happen to Inumaki's throat if he tells Sukuna to not move with his curse energy? He's gonna die. Like, just gonna tell him to, like, sit down. He'd die instantly. You think Black Flash clashing would give you information about the opponent's soul / curse energy? Is this Naruto where, like, for two ninjas to understand each other, they must be of equal power and clash with each other? That was the dumbest shit ever, dude. You think these people will just, like, talk to each other at some point? But, like, in Naruto, to understand your opponent, you had to, like, beat their ass for 4 hours. Instead of just, like, sitting down in a room and like, what's wrong, man? Are you okay? And, like, imagine your friends roll up on you and they're like, I'm gonna beat the shit out of you to get you back on our side, man. Don't worry, we're gonna cure your depression, but not until I've caved your jaw in. That's what Naruto taught me. Just heard some YouTubers say Binding Vow Miwa could hurt Hikari. The Hikari slander is crazy. That is an insane take. Binding Vow Miwa couldn't even, like, stop a Kenjaku finger. And even if she did hurt Hikari, Hikari's just gonna heal instantaneously and, like, punch a hole through her head. Sasuke just needed to talk. Yeah, he did. But instead, Naruto kept trying to, like, throw them hands. Can we talk about how OP binding vows are under the right circumstances? I think I talked about this near the beginning of the stream. That binding vows, there aren't enough established rules around them. I think that's the issue. I think that's the biggest issue people have when they say binding vows are OP. Insane copium from Kaio Breeze, which I'm smoking. Kaio's on it, dude. He's on the farming. I'm mad respect, honestly. Gojo sacrificed his 6 eyes to live as a binding vow. Yeah, I've seen this brought up quite a few times, and if he did, I mean, he's just a bum at that point. He's just a tough bum. Like, will he even be able to see at this point? Is he just Kenshi? Like Kenshi from Mortal Kombat, have no eyes. I mean, he's pretty strong in like CT, but like, is that what you guys want? Do we really want like a punch kick merchant Gojo to come back? Yeah, they're honestly scapegoats and Gege off-screens the cost of binding vows, which makes it even worse. Yeah, like there's no... I know some people say, oh, they can't do anything, and I think that's true just because binding vows are, oh my god, I totally lost my train of thought. What was wrong with me? They feel like scapegoats just because binding vows don't have enough information around them. And we know they can't use them for literally anything because they don't, but that doesn't feel like a good explanation. I'm going to bring up the Harry Potter issue, okay? Harry Potter and Jujutsu Kaisen are way more similar than they have any right to be. Gojo is totally just Dumbledore. And in Harry Potter, the magic system makes no goddamn sense. Like, things just work or they don't, depending on, like, how they feel on that day. Like, magic is just magic. Nothing makes any fucking sense. And that's how binding vows feel, where it's like, okay, like, what's the limit of a binding vow? Like, why wouldn't every character who's about to die just, like, binding vow a power of theirs to, you know, fucking live? Because, you know what sounds worse than, like, losing your goddamn eyeballs, dude? Getting chopped in half. That sounds pretty bad. Maybe if he sacrifices one eye for a binding vow. Yeah, he's gonna get Kano, dude. He's gonna become Kano. It all ends at Mortal Kombat. Geto is Grindelwald and Gojo is Dumbledore. Yeah, and you have like the whole Magic High School, the whole Magic High School and the higher ups at the Ministry of Jujutsu that like absolutely hate this guy. And then you have like Voldemort with Voldemort Sukuna with like his 20 Horcruxes. That's it. That's what Jujutsu Kaisen is all about. I wonder if that go south/north line actually has any meaning. Well, if you ask the 15 quintillion people on Twitter, it means everything. And Gojo is definitely coming back. If Gojo comes back full powered or leave him dead, damn it. That's how I feel. Sukuna has 1,000 buffs, why can't Gojo? Like, Gojo at full power at this point, like, depending on what Sukuna has. Yeah, a trade-off for your life continuing can't really be made. Except it can be, because Hakari survived the explosion from Kashimo, if I remember correctly, by sacrificing his arm. And Sukuna's come back from the dead before, but we don't know how. He's the only one we know so far that's been able to do it. He loses Limitless and has no eyeballs. Actually, you know what? I take it back. Maybe just like leave me dead at that point. I'd rather just die than have no eyeballs and like my technique sucks. At least in this world. Quirkless, did you see Gege's notes about the brain damage? I'm convinced that Sukuna was less tired than Gojo. You want to elaborate on that for me, OG King? I haven't seen them, or maybe I have, but are you talking about the brain damage for like curses in like the original chapters, like chapter 230 something, for like the Unlimited Void? Binding vows are like Full Metal Alchemist. A little bit. Was Yuji a Culling Games player because he was Sukuna's vessel? That's the implication. The implication that Sukuna was already a Culling Games player. Sukuna brain damage still has him unable to use his domain. Yeah, so it seems pretty similar. Gojo at max power would fold Sukuna now, and that's not happening. See, that's what it feels like. Unless Sukuna is actually so broken, like so absolutely broken with his actual technique or like black box or whatever, that's just enough to fight everybody. Which, given how Gege writes him sometimes, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Do people not realize that Uro died? I don't think Uro died. I don't remember that happening at all. There was like the incorrect leak translation at one point. As somebody mentioned Uro. So now that Sukuna left Yuji, is he still a player? See, that is the big question. Is he still a player? Is Yuji actually a player of the Culling Games anymore? We don't know, because Gege Akatame doesn't tell us anything. But it is a great thing to bring up. I'm glad somebody else noticed, because I was talking to Kaio about this a while back. That, like, they might just not be players anymore. Because we don't know, because he never actually had to sign up. Uro ran away from 15 Finger Sukuna. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happened. She just left. There was that one leak day where I forget who it was. Like, somebody said that, like, the Takaba chapter, the first person was Uro, but it was actually just, like, some nobody that got drowned by Kenjaku, because Kenjaku was playing Manhunt that day. First panels of the Takaba versus Kenjaku fight, he killed her. No, he didn't. It was like some oh my god, can I English? Can I brain? It was a different character. Jesus. It was a totally different character. It was just some weird leaks translation. Like, I can't fault you, because, like, the leaks just, like, straight up lied at first on those. Yeah, 2 hours into a stream, my brain just gets cooked. Once you walk inside the barriers, you are a player. Or is that stated? I don't remember that rule exactly. I thought you had to sign up. Because there were people that were given an opportunity to leave the Culling Games. I'll have to go back through. You could be totally right. Okay, I'm not going to pretend that I know everything. It's been a while since I read the start of the Culling Games arc. But I will take a look. I will dig for this one. Oh, here. This is when the giant thumb comes up and says, hey, you guys ready to play a game? Oh my god, Tengen is so goddamn ugly rereading these. No wonder Kenjaku was laughing. It's a lot of words I'm seeing here. It's an awful lot of words. And I'm a lazy man. I'll get to that later. I'm going to assume you're probably right. Blue X Super Chats. How do you rate Cursed Energy as a power system? I think it's the best. At least of the ones I've read. I think it is way better than Naruto's Chakra. I think it is way better than Ryatsu and like Spiritual Pressure from Bleach. I think the closest one to it, I think it's better than Nen, I'll be honest. And I think Nen is really close. I think Nen is like the second best for me. Cursed Energy tells you so much, and the only really dumb thing with Jujutsu Kaisen's power system is Binding Vows. When do 256 leaks even drop? Probably... Oh, I'm saying probably, like Wednesday. Should be Wednesday. Is there anything relating to 256, or is this all speculation? Well, predictions does mean you're predicting something. So that should answer the question. It's not better than Nen. I can see why you'd think that. I think Nen's vows are usually more well done. Takaba returns to destroy Malevolent Shrine in 256. Maybe he will come back, but if he comes back, he's gonna get bullied and die. My poor man. My poor Takaba. Miyamura confirmed on Twitter there are no panel additions or changes to 236 chapter. Yeah, I saw that. It's a pretty crazy one. I mean, I didn't really expect any new changes to 236, to be honest, but I'm sure Gojo fans are unhappy about that. Will Sukuna use a maximum technique at some point? He'll probably use a maximum output. Did Takaba die? I mean, I don't see there's any reason to think he died. He was kind of just taking a nap there, chilling. Gojo will come back, but bald. Yep, definitely. Bald Gojo. Crack pipe theory. I think it's crackpot, but okay, crack pipe. Yuta creates a binding vow with Rika in the final Sukuna finger to use Black Box against him in exchange for Yuta sacrificing himself. I mean, isn't Yuta, like, stitching himself back together right now? Thank you for the super chat, by the way. Maybe if Yuta was still around, I'd agree. What would have changed in 236? Well, you see, in the volume, what they want from the volume is for Gojo to open his eyeballs and climb back up and say, time to get back in there while he's on, like, the operating table. While he's on the operating table. There's whole fan fiction chapters of Gojo coming back with Shoko. Some people have lost it, okay? There's a male pattern baldness curse. Yeah. The ominous male pattern baldness. Bald Gojo equals Miguel. Actually, bald Gojo over Miguel. What do you mean by the Gojo eye reveal? Actually, I had the... Maybe I should change the title. Maybe that's misleading. I assume most people do. It's the talking about Gojo's volume cover. Am I the only one hearing static in the background? Maybe. The microphone I use, it depends. If you have a high frequency headset, you might hear everything in the background of my room or whatever. But most people on a standard headset or earbuds won't hear anything, in my experience. If Gojo were bald, girls would still simp over him. Well, being bald isn't actually as bad as people think. Not that I would know. But there are plenty of people who are bald and still, you know, totally fine. It doesn't mean people are ugly whatsoever. No, I heard it for a bit. It might just be static then. This mic does kind of mess up sometimes. You might be hearing my computer fans. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll listen back to it at some point. W. Quirkless fag. Yeah, but, you know, if everyone wants a Q&A, I'm usually pretty open. Maybe I will do that sometime. Since I'm so off topic at this point. Bald Gojo is a foot sniffer. That's an incredible allegation, Tostado. I hope you have some facts to back that one up. I think Gojo just needs to see Nurse Kenny and get revived immediately. This fandom is truly lost sometimes. Here, let's put back in the volume cover. Oh, apparently that's the whole screen. It is a good volume cover. Actually, I'll pull it up, the whole thing. It's pretty good. It's one of the better ones in my opinion. That's some wild comments. It always is. It always is. Revival of Toji or Gojo. Please, Toji. Bald Gojo versus Omni-Man. Well, not only does Omni-Man have hair, he also has a mustache. So clearly, Omni-Man. Do you think the story got stale after the Gojo versus Sukuna fight? I don't think it got stale. I think it's getting a little repetitive now. I know something is going to happen that's going to bring people back. It's just generally how these things go. But for now, we're kind of waiting on it because currently, it does feel a little bit like filler. And I know some people get upset at hearing that, but you have to think it is fine to see these characters. And like, we're wrapping up the character arcs for a lot of people. Like Miguel is getting wrapped up. LaRue probably just got packed up. But once we have all the characters' arcs finished, once we get to see so many characters' abilities, then Gege is probably going to close out the story, close out the character arcs of the main characters like Yuji, and then JJK will pop off and people will talk about it, or maybe it'll just like go into the dumpster. But no, I think the main thing we're waiting on now is just for like something important to happen, because Miguel showing up, as cool as Miguel is, he's not a main character. Do I have a theory about the volume illustrations? Now, there's two types of people on this planet. People that think that Gojo is alive in this panel, that he's totally fine. This is him waking up, or people who think he just got chopped in half here. I'm of the latter. Is a cut to Shoko enough copium to save JJK? It is enough copium for Twitter to go fucking insane for at least 2 months. Now, I recently made my grand return to Twitter for 4 days so that I may suffer. And in that time, I have read many a thing about Jujutsu Kaisen. Many an illiterate fan. And as much as I don't want to denigrate, you know, people's enjoyment of a series, sometimes you do have to wonder. Like, some of the shit you see on Twitter for Jujutsu Kaisen that just, like, people just pass around. It's comical. It's like some comically bad reading comprehension. That is definitely him waking up. The slash theory is Sukuna writing. Is it? Is it him waking up if the volume covers for the volume he dies in? Especially ghetto fans. Well, if you're a ghetto fan, you're basically a Ted Bundy fan, okay? It's just anime Ted Bundy, so as far as I'm concerned, but worse. Like, people go out, like, people are big fans of, like, really fucked up people all the time, for some reason. I will continue to inhale copium until the series is over. Luckily, all Gojo fans, upon becoming Gojo's #1 fan, or a part of his fan base, you are provided with a lifetime supply of copium. Never ending. And according to some people, that shit hits pretty good. Do you think that everyone versus Sukuna will be better in the anime? I think everything will be better in the anime. Gojo Copium train, last stop, hop on, guys. Yep, true story, guys. Hop on. The train is making its last departure. And it's either going to be to Gojo's funeral or, like, to his immaculate return. I was talking about the previous illustrations where you see the same space with and without the characters. I haven't seen those. No comment. Isn't this cover the moment Gojo uses Black Flash right before his death? I mean, I don't think that looked that goofy, I'll be honest. This one's more of like an, oh shit, did my body just fall apart look? Either that or like, hello, I am back. I have woken up in the volume where I'm dead. Which makes a little less sense. How much longer until Megami finally gets up? At least 30 chapters. I'm not entirely sure, but Megami's coming back. Like, they've definitely set up that Megami is going to return. Where Gojo is shown with wings. Man, I must have seriously missed an illustration here. Because I don't remember Gojo coming back as a goddamn angel anywhere. Didn't you guys read the light novel? Gojo is coming back. I have not read the light novel. I'm only good at reading picture books. Okay, the last real book I read was required for me by law in my school. Ever since then, I've transferred exclusively to TV and illustrations. Hopefully you can understand. How is it a holy shit look if he's on his back, though? Well, that would be him standing up in the middle of the slash. I think that's what people are saying. Gojo coming back is not cope. Thinking he's not coming back is cope. Listen, if you just take a hit of the copium, anything's possible, guys. It's all cope at the end of the day. Because you're really fucking coping. You think Jujutsu Kaisen's gonna get a good ending. I'm kidding. I couldn't resist. Who says that illustration is Gojo on his back? That's what I'm saying. Gojo's expression is him reacting to the Gojo incident. It's actually him reacting to like everything that's been posted about him on Twitter since he died. The 15-page... Now, I love Twitter because Twitter is like the worst platform to post a long, intricate theory, but they all go for it because it's also the easiest to get impressions on. So you just get like 15 replies to your own post to explain one thing that could very easily be explained on like a Reddit forum post or something else. It's a beautiful thing. We smoking fatty copium blunts. Absolutely. Pass it around. Time to post my start of my copium addiction on Reddit. Let me know how it goes. I'm sure you have many other people that could relate. To be fair, he is giving it a look of, oh, I'm gonna fuck you up now, little bro. It looks more like he's coming back like Jon Snow, to be honest. But I get what you're meaning. You see, okay, Gojo ain't coming back. That cover is probably the exact moment he got slashed. See, like, these are the two sides of this fandom. It's either he's awake or he is very dead. This is the moment he witnessed true mastery of Jujutsu. He is amazed yet terrified. Preach. Keep it coming. Everyone will come back to Jump Sukuna, just like in the Heian era. I honestly hope so. I do hope that's the case, because I wouldn't mind an all-out fight. I wouldn't mind a flashback to the previous fight while it happens, too. Could you imagine? I mean, maybe this is like a little too like fancy schmancy for some Jujutsu Kaisen, but like, what if they had a flashback like halfway through the chapter of like what happened previously as they're fighting to like parallel it? That's my third grade that's my third grade take on how he should write his story. Thank you. The X-Files theme starts. Hey, X-Files is a great show. I'm gonna be hyped for the next Quirkless stream. Oh, we're gonna be streaming the I will be up for the spoilers again. So I'll be doing that. I'll also be finally finishing up my Megami video. Get back on that grind. Putting both of them side by side makes sense. If Gojo lives, the Gojo figure incident will look like a playground. See, you're insinuating that making a Gojo figure like incident isn't already a playground. Or like having a vigil for a fake character. Like, I ain't gonna lie. It's like, listen, I'm deeply part of the anime community. I can no longer, my weeb denial is gone. There's no chance. You cannot deny being a weeb once you have an anime YouTube channel. But having a vigil for a fake character is fucking cringe. And that's my official stance. The Gojo visual is wild. Yeah, it is. I want the Heian flashback after this fight, like hidden inventory. Then we have the final round and climax. Heian flashback. Everybody wants it. Like, Gege is really slipping, in my opinion, if we don't get the Heian era flashback. I am a nerd, not a weeb, but thank you very much. Ah, yes. My favorite nerd, the anime fan. Alonzi. No, I feel you. But, like, really, it gets very difficult to deny being a weeb to any of your close friends when they see you have a goddamn anime channel. And that's just the truth. Gege should have made an April Fool's illustration showing Gojo returning. Gege's edging us. Gege Akatame is honestly just a complete troll. That's amazing. They truly don't care about their fans, like what the fans think, which is good for an author. And I can't help but feel like that's because nobody knows what Gege Akatame's real name is. So he feels completely free. He can kill whoever he wants. No one will find him. Heian era flashbacks seeming pretty unlikely now, not gonna lie. I think there'll be like a short one. If we do get one, it won't be like a whole hidden inventory. But like, we'll see some more flashbacks to the Heian era, surely. Even if it's like just a few pages. They are a troll. Absolutely, they are a troll. If Gojo was coming back, we would get an Honored One pose as a volume cover. That's next. That's volume 30. After he's beaten Sukuna and the merger creature. And, you know, danced on their corpses. And then all his students will die, and it'll become the Gojo show. Thanks for the answers. Why do you think Sukuna calls himself the Fallen? And do you think we will know soon? I do think we will know soon. I think the Fallen, well, the Fallen implies that You know, he fell from grace. He used to not be a total shithead. As for the exact reasons why, it could be something he did to come back to life. Like, maybe he died a good man. Like, died a quote-unquote good man. Yes, the excellent man known as a cannibal. And whatever he did to come back, whatever he did to turn himself into a cursed object, this unnatural rebirth, is something he discovered from Kenjaku. Someone else who's, like, kind of a piece of shit. We'll see. We'll see. You know, it's hard because we know pretty much nothing about the Heian era. But what we do know is that Sukuna, at some point in time, was not necessarily evil. Do you think JJK can have a good ending? No. Not at all. Without a Heian era flashback. With a Heian era flashback, it'd probably be pretty good. I'm honestly kidding. JJK can't have a good ending. Personally, I agree. I agree with you that it's taken a bit long for the Heian era flashback. It's taken a bit long for Sukuna to actually be making any real headway in this fight, or like any of the characters feel like they're making headway. I can't help but, like, I feel for the people that were watching the Yuta versus Yuji fight, like, thinking he was actually going to lose. I really do. But there's just no way. Like, until that black box is shown, he is not losing. That's just how it is. Unfortunately. We all have to wait. Because there's just, like, the chance of Gege Akutame killing off Sukuna or having him be defeated before he shows the black box is so low that everything else feels like filler. Sukuna's Black Flash seems weak. Maki already back. No, Maki's just that strong. That's the real answer. Even Sukuna was shocked that she came back that easily from a Black Flash. He's folding the crew after he opens the shrine. Packing them up. I think they'll get out of it, honestly. I think if he opens up Malevolent Shrine, and I do think Malevolent Shrine is coming next chapter. Not next chapter, but within like some point in the next 3 chapters, 5 chapters. Because if this fight keeps going for more than 5 chapters, I'm going to tap out mentally at points. Unless something crazy happens. Maki over Toji in physicals right now. Yeah, she definitely has better feats. That's for sure. Hercule Shinobi, I heard you talking about Sukuna using the black box for a long time. All because it's been coming for a long time. I'm just the bearer of news. It's not my fault. I don't write the story. But until that black box reveals, there's like a 1% chance at this guy losing to anybody. People got so mad at me for saying this during the Gojo versus Sukuna fight because Gojo fans had effectively formed a new religion around their king for a time period until he got chopped in half. It was quite the sight. My comment section was a nightmare at this point in time. And at one point I said, like, Gojo, like, it just feels like filler until we get the black box because anything Gojo does isn't going to work. He's going to die. He's just going to fail to kill Sukuna. Even if he pulled out the maximum hollow rainbow, it wasn't going to work because the black box is hidden. And Sukuna's got to live for that character arc. It's coming. The black box is coming. Unfortunately, it took for goddamn ever. They formed a binding vow. Yes, the Gojo fans formed a binding vow around glazing Gojo during Gojo versus Sukuna. It was a wild thing. And the cost for breaking that binding vow and ever saying Sukuna is stronger in any way was bitching about him for the rest of the series. I did see some crazy takes back in the day when that was all going on. Like, people just totally, like, I don't even think it was crazy to say that Gojo might be stronger at that point. But, like, the amount of downplay of what Sukuna might have was just insane. It was absolutely insane. I've never seen anything like it. People treated the four-armed form as if like it didn't even exist. It was something else. It wasn't even a possibility, dude. Black box. Black box is just like some nothing burger. To be honest, everyone was writing Gojo before 236. People have been writing Gojo for a very long time. But how can you blame them? Like, imagine you're a casual reader of Jujutsu Kaisen, okay? Gojo is in the forefront all the time. Gojo is hyped up by everybody in the fan base for this casual thing you're reading. So of course you're going to expect them to buy the guy. Also, every YouTuber farmed Gojo because he was easy views. Yo, can I get a shout out, bro? You sure can, Arjun. I hope that's satisfactory. Lawa, if I ever pronounce that properly. What's up, man? I see you all the time, especially in my Twitter chat. You're one of the few people that comments on my Twitter posts. That makes me happy. There's like this subsect of people that will very politely comment on most of the things I say, and they feel like my real group, the people that really treat me like a person. It's much appreciated. Gojo could have won. He just didn't have plot armor. Yeah, he's also too weak. Speak of the devil, why haven't we seen Hikari fight Urame at all? Because Urame's attacks are ice and Hikari's attacks are punch kick. And honestly, I'm gonna say it, Hikari's technique, his whole like I'm immortal thing, a little boring. At least compared to Yuta, in my opinion. I think the music playing the whole time is the most interesting thing about it. Bro, you know it was an April Fool's prank, right? I mean, the volume cover isn't. I'm assuming that's what we're talking about when you say that. The volume cover. After Gojo died, my girlfriend begged me to change my lock screen because it had been Sukuna for months. I hope you didn't give in. Why Angel didn't hit Sukuna Jacob's ladder when he got hit with the Infinite Void. That would have been a good Jujutsu to Mike Kaisen. Well, it looks like Jacob's ladder has some charge up when she does it. Also, like, Ui's pretty fast. I don't think anyone's shown him being so fast. He can just teleport you onto a guy that's stunned for, like, what, 5 seconds? If that. Gojo couldn't even get to him before the domain collapsed. Like, you have to think from their viewpoint, Gojo's domain was just like, you know, he had the barrier around Sukuna, so they didn't even know what happened. They just saw it shatter, and then suddenly there's Maharaga there. Did you think Kenjaku's death was underwhelming? Oh, definitely. If Yuta stopped holding back, this would be over already. It's all about that Yuta's holding back. That's the difference, guys. That was pretty funny, Alonzo. It's interesting he built his entire CT on gambling. I mean, it is kind of cool it's gambling, but like if you aren't interested in pachinko machines, what's there for you to love except the theme song, Immortality, and Punch Kick? How does Gojo's teleportation via Lapse Blue actually work? Well, it sounds like he needs a line of sight, and then he pulls himself at incredibly high speeds towards the location by clapping his hands together. And that explains why he says when he's working on the teleportation, he needs to have no obstacles in the way. That also explains that like he's slingshotting himself to somebody basically at extremely high speeds. And also explains why Sukuna says, "Oh, he's unbelievably fast. Oh wait, that's not it. It's something else," because even he knew it was related to a technique at that point in time. And also shows you why Gojo like grabbed on to Sukuna when he did it, because he's just like beaming himself in one direction. So he just slammed into him with a group hug. Kenjaku was literally us, the readers, all along. Yeah, on the note of Kenjaku, him getting stabbed in the brain was kind of like a giant middle finger to every Kenjaku fan. If Hikaru's theme song isn't adapted funk music in the anime, then I don't want it. Completely agreed. Can't call Gojo weak and actually believe Sukuna's stronger when he had 2 CTs. The author had to amp up the alleged strongest to beat someone allegedly weaker. I mean, well, Gojo's so weak he couldn't even get 2 CTs if he wanted to, because he can't turn himself into a cursed object. Right? I mean, you put them in the same position, okay? I mean, are we going to call the guy with no open barrier the strongest? Really? You put them in the same location, okay? You swap positions, you give Gojo all the tools that Sukuna has, and Sukuna still wins because Sukuna's smarter and better at Jujutsu than Gojo is. In every single way imaginable. And like, that's just the truth. That's the unfortunate truth. That Gojo is just outskilled by Sukuna so hard. It's unbelievable. And we still don't know everything Sukuna has. And even without 10 shadows, Sukuna still wins the domains. Like he's just unmatched in Jujutsu, and it's just how it is, and that's how he's built up. That's how they show him. Gojo is coming back, believe me. I do believe you. Hold on 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water. Give me 1 moment. On the note of Sukuna's forearms, I'm back, by the way. If Sukuna had his real form, he would have folded Gojo because he would have had his amplification, forearms, mouth enchants, an unbreakable domain because Gojo can't do anything. I mean, if Gojo had everything Sukuna had, Gojo can't even touch Sukuna in the Unlimited Void because Gojo can't even do domain amp and a domain simultaneously. There's no Heian era Gojo. Not yet. Time travel technique. Heian era Gojo. How through feats? I mean, just read the fight. How would, oh my god, how would, I thought Infinity was supposed to block anything it considers a threat automatically. You would think it saw the world cutting slash coming. It can't block the world cutting slash, that's the whole point. It's impossible to block. The FOMO after the Miguel chapters got me glued to the stream. It does feel like that after Jujutsu Kaisen chapter. Why are people arguing a fight that's already been finished? Because Gojo is the #1 popular character in Jujutsu Kaisen. Infinity means he can travel through time. So he'll pick up every 6 eyes user and gang up on Sukuna, dude. Could you imagine? Just like a JoJo's Pillarman coming back to life, posing, coming on in. You low-key agree that the world-cutting slash shouldn't work on Infinity, but that's for another time. I mean, it spawns it, like, right, like, it just cuts through the plant, like, through the universe, basically. And clearly Gojo's technique can't stop things that cut through the actual universe. It has to be, like, a physical object, or something like that. Like, it cuts the space itself. As long as he occupies the space, it hits him. Like, the technique's target is the world. Infinity shouldn't be able to slow that down, and clearly it doesn't. Gojo's teleportation is hella inconsistent, not gonna lie. You are preaching to the choir. If you watch any of my old Gojo videos, I never shut up about his teleportation, because it should be godly. It should be unbelievably amazing. But we're stuck. We're stuck with, like, this bum version of it all the time. Miguel versus Hikari. I mean, actually, that's an interesting question. I don't know if Miguel has, like, a real win con against Hikari, if Hikari can just keep domain expansioning. Like, Miguel is about winning in the short term, and Hikari is unlimited cure synergy and immortal. But the point of Infinity is that it's infinite space, so even if the slash infinitely cuts it, it still shouldn't reach. It's not infinite space, it's just like, it's basically, it's slowing down, like, because it's not like a literal barrier of infinite space. First of all, it's a curse technique, so curse techniques don't even follow physics, guaranteed. But even then, there's nothing to, it slows down the incoming target, but the target of the world slash is the space itself, so it just keeps going. I think that's the thing they're trying to say. Like, there's nothing to slow down because he occupies the space. Like, it's cutting the world itself. I don't know how else to put it. I could probably put it more succinctly if I made, like, a video on it or something, or if we talked about this later. But the world slash, like, the entire idea of it, the concept of it, is that he didn't have to direct the one he used at Gojo. It cuts the space itself. There is nothing to slow down because Gojo's Infinity doesn't work on things that aren't, like, targeting in the real world or something like that. I think it was the point. Infinity slows stuff down, the world slash doesn't move, it separates 2 volumes. That's a much more succinct way of putting it than I did. The world slash is basically moving along the canvas, whereas a normal slash is moving, like, in the world. I think that's the best way. It also doesn't help that my voice is dying at this point. The world slash just spawns on top of you, it doesn't travel. That's kind of what it sounds like initially, because they say he doesn't have to direct it originally. I mean, clearly the world slash works. On account of Gojo being chopped in half. Does the world slash exist without the Maharaga model? I mean, technically, yes. It took him Maharaga to learn it, but the concept of the technique, like the use of the technique, was always there. I would understand what you mean if it wasn't for the fact that we've seen it thrown at and evaded by Maki, though. So it has a travel time. Well, there's a couple of things with that. The first one is that the one Maki dodged, Maki is like semi-precognition, and it still has a travel path. And the one she dodges is also a nerfed version where he has to direct it. And even then, what it's doing is it's basically cutting along the canvas versus cutting, like, sending out a normal projectile. It's not like it's not necessarily instantaneous, especially now with the whole direction of it. The one that Sukuna used on Maki is nerfed. Yes, it is. Now I am not so much a glazer. I would say that it just spawns on people now, like originally. But them saying he has to direct it now is a little different. I'm trying to find, it's a complicated thing to explain. I have seen some people explain it better than me, for sure. But you gotta think of it as though the world slash itself is just cutting the universe along its path, while a normal slash is just cutting. It's just like a cut in the world. Would be like the most basic way to explain it. It also sounds like Infinity stops things that are going towards Gojo, like it's an actual target. There's some loophole in there, but that's because Gege is not a science major. And also curse techniques don't work on actual physics all the time. Like sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Sometimes a character can make an infinite pressure ball that they drop on the floor and nothing happens to the planet. That's just how it is. I think I get it. Obviously, I agree it worked, because duh, but I can't get my small brain around the physics. Not that JJK cares for physics. I think that's fair. Like, if you have a problem with it, I'm not the one to explain it, okay? I ain't no physics major. Like, I'll try. I'm sure if I made a video on it, it would just be me ripping someone else who explained it better than me. But like the basic concept I'm guessing here is just, the universe is getting cut along the path, which is different from the normal slashes, and Infinity can't stop things. They're basically space manipulation. This is like the eternal Gojo and Sukuna conversations. They never end. They literally never end. It's gonna be here forever. I just interpreted it as it cuts everything in its path, including Infinity. Yeah, that's a pretty simple way to interpret it, and I can't disagree. Because clearly that's what happened. If it was a projectile. Which it sounds like it was, even initially. Though they did say he didn't have to direct it. It's weird, okay, and it gets even worse. It gets even worse, and this is my last opinion on it. It gets a little worse now that we have like this new binding valve thing that makes the previous version sound actually cracked. We're saying Kusakabe is over or equal to Maki. Yeah, Kusakabe's him. No, Kusakabe got like put out by some slashes. Do we think that's happening to Maki? I don't think so. It's really draining after a while. That it is, China Doll. That it is. Absolutely. I wish Gojo and Sukuna just killed each other and like they both just said, high five, bro. We're equals, and so I never have to deal with it again. Really, this is the cover. Shonen OG had a video on the new covers, but now I see. Is this not the cover, Holify? Am I a fraud? Have I put the wrong volume cover up this whole time? I just assumed it was correct. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I'm far from a professional. And how you doing, Holify? I see you in here all the time. Cosmo, oh boy, now we're getting to FTL conversations. How power scaling turns Jujutsu Kaisen into a goddamn nightmare. Step 1, talk about Gojo. Step 2, wait. Here it comes. The chat is going off. Bring it. Please more. You know, sometimes I will read over these power scaling arguments. Of like some of the power scaling conversations, my favorite ones are when both people are wrong, and like they're wrong about something so simple, and you just have to sit there and read it as they just hurl insults at each other. Wait, to skip 2 other covers after 26, dude. Hold on. Like, okay, the volume cover, the picture on screen may not be representative of the actual volume cover. World Slash sounds like a pompous name to me. You want to know what pompous is? Pompous is watching some guy on Twitter use the biggest word he possibly can to totally own that other guy, that his taste in anime is better than another person's. Personally, I love watching people pull out the biggest vocab, like just flex vocab on people because they think it makes them look smarter. Yeah, I don't think I ever said this was the official volume cover until like halfway through. So I think I got myself covered. I'm just using it as a. Let us edit the title again. Talking about Gojo's image, face, in Miguel's last stand. Perfect. Fixed it. Now anyone who clicks on this will never know unless they get this far. Why don't we stop talking pseudo physics and try to do some more predicting, like what Maki is going to do? Maki is probably going to lose. And also, talking pseudo physics is like 95% of every JJK stream I see. Let me pull up the music. Below V8. Hold on. Wait. Stop using big words on me. Talk at length, especially in an inflated or empty way. Well, not only did you use a big word on me, you also use an offensive term. How dare you? Is that really necessary? Hard to pronounce? Everything I say is inflated and empty, though, so it's not entirely incorrect. But I'm gonna keep doing it. I gotta go socialize. I wish you luck, Brandon. Have a great time. Thanks for showing up. All of them are gonna die. China Doll, you are the most doomer Jujutsu Kaisen fan in my chat every time. It's always death with you. You never talk about anybody coming back. FTL movement stuff is almost never consistent in anything. Well, yeah, because usually things with mass don't move faster than light anywhere observable. What do y'all think Sukuna is getting back next chapter? Oh, so no operator was here, and he enlightened me to the truth that it's probably going to be Sukuna's black box that he couldn't use up until now. Or something along those lines. And I'm inclined to agree. Where is Sukuna's Haiten weapon? Or the Trishula? Nowhere to be seen, is the answer. They have to die for the merger. Yeah, but why do you always assume the merger happens? I mean, it is probably going to happen. That's fair. But like every time you come in here, you're like, oh my god. Guys, they're all going to die. You're like, what about this character? They're dead. A new character shows up, also dead. There's never anyone like half alive. I'm pretty sure you'll even like super chat that they all die. After Hikari comes back from Urame, from the Urame's fight, he's gonna be married. First of all, Urame is like, we don't know how old Urame is, but definitely too old for Hikari. I can't see a tidy wrap-up without the heroes losing, a miracle or bad writing. So I picked those first two because bad writing. Bad writing is the greatest fear. Probably Black Box because if Gege decided to give him his domain, it's GG. To be honest, it kind of already feels like it's GG. Like, I don't know if the Malevolent Shrine, like the way that Urame is talking about Sukuna, it's like, oh, he can body them whenever he wants. And that's how it's felt ever since. Like, he just perception plus Maki and absolutely crushed her. I mean, she came back, but if this was a full-on Sukuna, after that Black Flash, he would just walk down and kill her. Granted, he didn't think she was going to come back. Nothing has contradicted what you've said. No, I mean, technically you're not wrong. Most characters are going home in a body bag, but it never hurts to be positive. It does feel like GG. Yeah, it really does feel like GG. Like, they're running out of bodies here. Bro, I'm telling you, Gojo is coming back. It's not GG. I see, I will be there when it happens. I would love to see Sukuna and Takaba at least meet. I feel like it'd be the funniest thing on Earth. That's a good point. Takaba is so strange and so goofy that him having this juxtaposition with Sukuna, it would be great to see. Especially since we all know Sukuna is going to bully him. He's going to bully him so much more effectively than Kenjaku ever could. Is the merger a way to dismantle curse energy? And for this to happen, Sukuna and Kenjaku needed to become godlike, and so Sukuna had to lose himself to crush curse energy. Sukuna could have finished it easy. It might be about building up curse energy to dismantle it or something like that. I think Kenjaku's goal is far more along the lines of trying to evolve everybody rather than eradicate curse energy. Because he did say to Yuki in like a very straightforward way that it's not about eradicating curse energy, it's about optimizing it. That means we're gonna get Nurse Sukuna. Oh god. You know, it's the eternal fear. Whenever you go on a Twitter post, alright, whenever you go like Twitter artwork, you scroll down, you're like, alright, when does it get weird? Like people who do colorings, and recently, my favorite colorist that I use for all my videos got his Twitter absolutely nuked. And like, we're really struggling out here now without his talent. And he gave me his Discord, but he deleted his Twitter before I could add him. So if you're watching this, Boku no Color, please for the love of God, like DM me. Because I'm suffering now. Like, what am I supposed to do? Cut together like my shitty manga panels and start drawing stick figures? I'll pay you. I hope you get 3 hours into my stream. But yeah, they nuked his Twitter, which honestly sucks because, I don't know, copyright or something, but either way. Like, you nuking somebody's colorings that were excellent. It's like, it is transformative work, but I guess they don't really give a shit about fair use. Bro is still alive. Goated for real, or just incredibly time wasting. Boku no Color. I don't know what happened to his Twitch stream. I mean, I don't know what happened to his Twitter. I don't know exactly what happened. I just know he vanished, and now I am stuck without a good colorist as of right now. So if anybody knows anybody, we'll have to get them into the... He still has an Insta? That's good. Like, as long as he didn't get banned for like something extremely sus, or whatever happened, or like got his post deleted for something extremely sus, I don't care. I need my artist. When the world needed him most, he vanished. Absolutely, dude. We've been struggling ever since. Scraping at the walls, pen and paper, trying to like draw doodles, throwing everyone in the trash. Broken of Color froze himself in an iceberg after having a crisis. Dude, I would have a crisis if they just like nuked my artwork that I worked for hours on. I can't blame him. Kusakabe Kaisen. Kusakabe is kebabbed, so I think we're way past that at this point. Alright, so let's talk about next chapter. Let's get back to the title. We have once again derailed, as is tradition. In this next chapter, this is like my last thing, and I'm probably gonna end here. This next chapter, I agree with no operator. We're trying to see the black box, and then afterwards, at which point, perhaps the other two characters from Gojo and from Geto's group show up, because really, what Sukuna is in dire need of now is like 2 extra people to Black Flash, and I just don't see that happening to Maki, and he's already shown that he can just toss Choso like he's a nobody. And this dude is so easily trying to body our boy Yuji Itadori emotionally that there's no way he's gonna Black Flash him, at least not right now. When is 256 coming? Should be coming Wednesday. Quick, guys, keep derailing him. It's far easier than you think. Honestly, you're not even necessary. I'll do it myself. Just like leave my brain operating for like 30 seconds and I'll forget what I was saying. GG for the main cast next chapter. It's been pretty much every chapter. Miguel shows up, looks cool, gets bodied. Next chapter. Trust me. So Sukuna needs some punching bags to get back his output. All I'm saying is, he's like, what? Four Black Flashes. Gojo got 4. He needs like 2 more. Geto's group has like 2 extra people. And like, if he really wants to like break the record of Black Flashes, he can punch Miguel too with a Black Flash. That's all I'm saying. Geto's group sounds like a bunch of Black Flash victims. Oh my god. Black Flash victims to me. I can see Gojo's and Geto's families fighting together just to lose. Well, first of all, Geto's family was like a commune of people that all want to live in a post-apocalypse. And Gojo's family are actually wholesome. I would rather live in a world with Sukuna than deal with Geto's family actually winning. Probably because I'd be dead in that one. Are we going to see Sukuna hit the 5 flashes? Potentially. I mean, there's no way. Like, if Nanami has the record for number of Black Flashes, there is no fucking way that Sukuna can't beat a Nanami record. That's all I'm saying. Are you quirky? Yes, it is the greatest lie. That quirk with Shinomi is in fact quirky. It was the first lie of this channel. The second lie was saying I was going to make a chapter review and I didn't. Sukuna really is like Beam Guy. Enemies are just ammo. Yeah. Yuji holds the record with Nanami. He even hit the 4 flashes twice. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, if Sukuna can't go beyond 4 Black Flashes. 4 Black Flashes at once, 1 for each arm. He's going to get his RCT output back, and then he's just going to quadra Black Flash somebody. Whoever gets hit by that is probably turning into a bloody pulp. Just saying. Sukuna makes a binding vow to land Black Flashes on command by making himself unable to use his CT for a limited amount of time. Could you imagine if he's binding vowed like an entire section of his CT away to Black Flash on command? Given how they use Black Flash binding vows in this series, it seems pretty, it seems potentially possible. Because binding vows have no established rules. beyond. Don't break them. Make them with yourself, and you get a buff. Maybe we'll cut to Hikari versus Urame. God, I hope not. But alright, guys. That is all for this stream, I think. I am pretty cooked mentally and physically. At least my voice is. Can you explain why Gojo couldn't make a binding vow? I mean, binding vows might just be, like, skill-related. It's possible. Maybe you have to, like, preamp them. Or, like, prepare them to some degree. I'm not entirely sure, because binding vows aren't explained enough. I wish I had a better answer for you. But thank you guys for watching. We're going to end there. I know it's a little abrupt, but we have been going for, like, 3 hours. Thank you all for all the super chats. You guys should check out No Operator. He was in here earlier. Excellent Jujutsu Kaisen YouTuber. And you should also check out Elon Z, who is another excellent Jujutsu Kaisen content creator. And I'm sure most of you already know both of those, but that's the plug. Thanks for watching, guys. I will probably have a video out in the next few days, assuming everything goes as planned.